What is going on, guys? Thank you so very much for joining us right here on Tuesday night. It is Tuesday Night Titans, episode 155 for your Tuesday, July 14th, 2026. I'm your host, JD from New York. As always, joined by the one and only Bada Bing, Bada Boom. How you doing? Solomonster, what's going on, brother?
No soft guys here. We got two guys that are ready to go here on a Tuesday night. I love it. What's going on?
Not much, man. Not much. Trying to stay cool in the heat. I just turned the air conditioner on.
Yes, so did I. So did I. We're going to be melting here again for the next couple of days. Aren't you excited?
I'm thrilled.
Yeah.
I saw somebody, the last heat wave we got, say that they would take the freezing blizzard-like weather over what we got coming here in New York City. I don't agree with that.
Well, look, I mean, I never thought I would say this, but I did say when we had that last heat wave that I'm ready for the snow boots and the shovels. And I not necessarily, I don't mean that truly, but that's kind of how I felt. And I you know what? I'm ready for September weather.
Yeah.
Because September weather is typically the best weather of the year. It's like it's great in September, sometimes even into October. Give me that. Like, I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, September, October. I used to not like those months, but I have become very fond of them. It's the best time to drink beer. It's the best time to just kind of go out and take a nice, cool, brisk walk, hoodie weather. Sleeping with the windows open at night with no humidity, and it's just like cool and crisp.
Yeah, that's right. You drink that October ale stuff.
Pumpkin ale, yeah.
Pumpkin ale, yes.
Did you know, before we get into the wrestling talk tonight, Obsession is coming to Peacock?
No, I did not know that.
Yes.
I knew it came to digital. I didn't know it was coming to Peacock, which means
I have no excuse now.
No. No. Do you know the date that it's coming to Peacock?
Relatively soon, before the end of the month is up.
All right. I was going to say, because if it's hitting Peacock at like the end of this week, you could delay your stream and you can watch Saturday night's main event. And then when that's over, go right into Obsession.
Well, I mean...
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Obsession sounded pretty good depending on what we got with this card or not on Saturday night. Holy shit.
Maybe you could watch Obsession in place of Saturday night.
That sounds like a better idea, honestly, with what we're getting. I know you're going to go see the Odyssey on Thursday, correct? I'm going to go see the Odyssey on Saturday, I think. The weather depending.
Yeah. I have... Again, I'm seeing it in LIMAX. I'm not seeing it. Everyone's raving about this 70 millimeter IMAX, and I don't even know. I probably have to go into the city to see it on that, right? And it's probably all booked up and sold out anyway. Yeah. So I won't be seeing it in glorious 70 millimeter, but I'll be seeing it in some form of IMAX. Those IMAX tickets are expensive, dude.
I know. What is that other movie going experience, like the moving seats and the fucking
4DX?
Yeah, I did that once. It was pretty cool.
I did that for the first time. I did that at the beginning of the year. I saw this movie called Send Help, and there were some scenes in the movie where there's like a raft on like the rough sea and everything, and all of a sudden the seat starts moving around. They're spraying water in my face, and I'm like, what is this? I'm like, this is ridiculous. I'm like, I'm never doing this again. So. Yeah, I didn't have a great experience.
I saw the last Tom Cruise Mission Impossible movie is what I saw in that. It was pretty entertaining.
Yeah.
But we got a lot to get into tonight. Speaking of entertaining, we got a couple of big situations happening on TV this past week. Obviously, the Cody Rhodes and CM Punk face-to-face. We'll talk about that. SummerSlam tickets not really doing all that well. We don't have an updated estimate now as far as where they are after the announcement of Punk and Cody. So anything right now is just kind of speculation, but we'll talk about SummerSlam ticket sales, why they are where they are right now. Same thing with All In. We'll talk about the big title change on Dynamite with Kenny Omega taking the AEW Championship from MJF. I have said repeatedly, and the sickos apparently feel like they need to combat me on everything I have to say, even though I am standing with MJF and just kind of feel bad that he's not going to be in the main event of Wembley Stadium. I am not married to the idea of Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay, as some people are. I know it's a big deal for all the New Japan enthusiasts, but for me, I am not really married to that idea. We'll talk about that. We'll have fun with that. Enzo and Cass on their way back to WWE. We got the first teaser for Big Cass last night on Monday Night Raw. Enzo is just going all out with the speculation and the tweets. If you follow his Instagram, he's posting gifs of himself and I think he posted a plaque of NXT Tag Team of the Year back when they won Tag Team of the Year, when they were still there in NXT. So they are on their way. It's all a matter of where it's going to happen.
Was that back when NXT had tag teams?
Back when NXT was actually good, yes.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that. Club WWE is finally getting a rollout. We'll talk about what that entails for $99 per year. Another money laundering scheme by WWE over there.
It'd be interesting. I saw that the news was out, but I couldn't be bothered to actually look up what's part of this. So this will be the first time I'm hearing it.
Yes, we'll go over as well Jason's obsession and really just kind of enthusiastic feel about Trick Williams' new United States Championships. I heard you're a big fan of that one, bro.
Oh, yeah. It took me back to the days of, remember Furby?
I did. Yes, my mom was big into Furby. She loved Furby.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, we have a Furby on SmackDown now.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. Baron Corbin's back. We'll talk about where he fits into the whole.
He wants the Furby.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
He's coming for the Furby.
I don't know if maybe he'll change the fur from white to black when he wins the title. I don't know.
Maybe he'll shave it off.
Yes, that's a better idea.
That'd be better, yeah.
So we'll talk about that. We got a bunch of stuff to get into tonight, so thank you guys for joining us here on TNT. It's episode 155. If you guys want to follow everything that we got going on outside of YouTube, everything is linked down below. Follow Jason on Twitter. His links are down below. Leave a comment. Leave a thumbs up. All that stuff helps us out. We're having a great month of July so far. Much better than June, as it should be going into SummerSlam. And then we got SummerSlam and right into All In. So we got some big stuff coming up. So thank you guys for all the support. Super chats are open. Get them on in. We'll hang out at the end of the show. I see some people getting their super chats in already. So thank you very much for that. And I think that's everything on the menu there. So again, thank you guys very much. The All-Star game is ongoing, so please keep me up to date. As if I mean, it doesn't really matter to me. The Braves are probably going to lose the division by the time September comes around. But always curious to see who gets home field advantage in the World Series. So keep us updated, chat.
Oh yeah. Keep me updated too, because I sure am curious about who's going to get home field advantage in the World Series.
Yeah, you got a great shot there, man.
Sure we do. Yeah. It would be historic if we do it.
Don't worry. We're both going to end up in the same fucking place. Don't worry about it. So, yeah, that's all that. So keep us up to date on that, chat. All right, man. I'm going to give you the ball, as always. What do you want to talk about?
I was going to start with this. It's just a minor note coming out of Beach Break last week. I don't know if did you see the video of the Big Show, Paul White?
I did not. I saw someone tweet about it, but I could not be bothered to kind of go any further than that.
Yeah, well, he came out. I don't believe he actually was technically part of the match, but there was a dark match before Beach Break, and I think it was a tag team match. I think it was Jay Lethal and Blake Christian against Sting's son, Steve Borden, baby Sting, and I think Kieran Gray. And there's fan video from the venue, and it just shows Paul White, I guess, did a run-in, and we don't see the running part, but like he's in the ring and he delivers, a big bear paw chop, and then he gives, I think, Lethal a choke slam, and they're just, again, he has to go up for it. They're selling for him, and it's just, again, he's moving not well. I said on I did my show earlier today, I said he's moving around like Andre in '89. And I know he's lost a bunch of weight. He's been really working hard, trying to get himself in shape and everything. But when the knees go, the knees go. You know what I mean? And it's a little bit different, I would imagine, when you're a giant and you're as big as he is. It's tough. So I don't know. I mean, he still wants to wrestle and do stuff. And I mean, maybe this is the best role for him, honestly. You kind of send him out there, get a pop from the crowd, do a choke slam and a chop, and then walk to the back. I just, it's sad to see the wrestlers that you were watching when you were, a younger wrestling fan, and then you see how they are today in some cases, and it's like, man, Father Time is a real pain in the ass.
Are guys like that ever going to be happy with just kind of taking like an ambassador role or maybe a coaching role, mentor role? Do they ever really just kind of slide into that role and just be happy with where they are in life, or do they just completely just want to continue to go and try and wrestle even though they know they can't?
I think some probably are okay with it, especially the ones I think that want to train or run their own school, and they just sort of transition into that phase. But I get it. Like, for a lot of them, it's very hard because they get the roar of the crowd and the rush of being out there and being in the locker room with the boys and all that stuff. And so it's hard, it's hard to let that go. I think even if they could just get it here and there, like little bits and pieces, little cameo appearances, they're going to hold on to it for as long as they can. And then also keep in mind, like, they're also getting paid, right? So it's like, well, if I can get paid and this is what they want me to do, I can do that and I can still make money. Why ride off into the sunset when you can go to an AEW, let's say, and get, paid to do whatever it is they do? I mean, Jake Roberts just announced recently that he's no longer under contract to AEW. So I guess it was like a quiet expiration, but Tony Khan had him under contract for years. What did Jake really do in the last few years?
Nothing. Remember when they tried to pair him with LFI and make him like the advocate?
Which made no sense. Which made very little sense. I mean, I get the idea that maybe, he can speak for them but what a weird combination.
Bro, they went as far as to trade Brian Cage to the Don Callis family for cash considerations or whatever the fuck they did. I don't know.
It reminded me of like back in the 80s when like managers like Keenan would like sell Hercules to someone. He sold Hercules his contract to DiBiase like he was a fucking slave or something. And this was like commonplace back then. The managers would sell their client to somebody. And so that's effectively what happened there. But yeah, like Jake, I remember that one, promo early when they first hired him and Cody, and it's like, okay, this could be kind of a cool role for him to be in. But he was employed by them for years and didn't do anything. Good for him. Yeah. But, but as far as like Big Show goes, he's a really good ambassador. He did an interview, some social media influencer, I forget the person's name. He put it up as like a 10-minute interview, and he's just kind of sitting there in his gear and he's talking about this, that, and the other. And he's very good at that. But I think he just wants to end his career on his terms. Which is, and you probably have a lot of people who maybe don't get the chance to do that in WWE. Maybe AEW gives them the platform to be able to do that. Copeland, he had a last match with Sheamus in WWE, but obviously he wanted to end things on his terms. So he went to AEW, and now he gets to close that chapter of his career the way that he wants. And that's cool. But I'm just saying, like, physically, some of these guys are able to do that well into their 50s, and some of them are not. But it's hard, it's hard to let that go. Plus, he's talked about Captain Insano. He wants to do the Captain Insano gimmick, and I'm like, how would this even work? Like,
oh my god,
what would that look like?
One of Adam Sandler's worst movies is The Waterboy.
Really? You think that's one of his worst movies?
Absolutely. I
really?
I don't know. There's just something about it I didn't enjoy. I don't know.
I don't know if that's going to go over well in the chat. I feel like The Waterboy has become like a cult classic over the years.
Yeah, there are others. I like Mr. Deeds better than The Waterboy.
I never saw Mr. Deeds.
You never saw Mr. Deeds? Oh, bro, you got to watch Mr. Deeds.
No. Happy Gilmore, Waterboy. No, Mr. Deeds, I never saw.
Oh, man. Chat, Jason's got to watch Mr. Deeds. I don't know. Waterboy was all right. I mean, what was that? Little Nicky was another one he did? That was a terrible movie.
Yeah, Little Nicky. Yeah. Billy Madison was another one.
That was a good one, too, yeah. But yeah, Big Show, I did hear about that, and like you said, he's a very good ambassador for Tony Khan, and obviously still wants to be involved. I think this is a good segue into this, because this just literally came across my feed before we went live, and this concerns Keith Lee. Apparently, there is news on Keith Lee. There was news on Keith Lee and his relationship with Mia Yim, which we will not be getting into because it's just not. It was a slow news day. I'll give you that. That's why that grabbed headlines tonight. But the other thing about Keith Lee that's being talked about is that his in-ring career may be over. Now, he's 41 years old, and he's still under AEW contract as far as we know to Tony Khan's company. And the longer hiatus has been kind of attributed to health issues, because I know he struggled heavily in COVID, and he never really was the same. So in a social media post, Lee assured folks last summer that he had been doing fine for quite some time after a number of complications over the years, and that it was simply not up to him when he would return to the ring. Fightful Select reported earlier this summer that a return to AEW programming for Lee had been discussed recently, but obviously did not come to fruition. Now, Brian Alvarez of The Observer has heard that Lee may never compete in a ring again. He says, there's been a lot of talk about Keith Lee over the last couple of days. I'm not saying this 100%, okay? I'm not saying this 100% because I don't know. But from a talking point, And from talking to people there, the belief is within the business that Keith Lee is done. And we're not talking like, when he's done with AEW, if that ever happens, he'll go elsewhere. It is believed that he is likely just retired. Now, I know watching Keith Lee, Jason, from his rise in the indies, he basically was like everyone's beloved favorite in the indies. When he first joined NXT before that, I mean, he ruled the indies. You heard nothing but Keith Lee, and WWE's got to get Keith Lee, sign Keith Lee. He was the next big thing. He joins NXT. He sets NXT on fire. He does tremendous down there. His feuds with Dijak. And then he makes the main roster. He had that one memorable spot in the Royal Rumble with Lesnar. He had another memorable spot in Survivor Series when it was Raw, SmackDown, and NXT in that weird triple threat Survivor Series team format that they did one year. And it was him and Roman Reigns in the end. And he really showcased what he is capable of if they actually gave him a chance. And he proved to everybody that he belongs, but it never really worked out. And you obviously know what happened to him under Vince McMahon and Bear Claw Keith Lee. Bearcat Keith Lee.
The Bearcat.
It was ridiculous. Then he leaves there, and then he goes to AEW. Things got started off all right in the beginning, but then a feud with Swerve never materialized into anything, and he just kind of got lost and got sick, and COVID happened, and then he never returned. So now we're looking at this. He's 41 years old. I ask you, is this a situation where Keith Lee is legitimately done, or is this a situation where AEW puts the news out that Keith Lee is retired, quote unquote? They build some momentum for people wanting to see Keith Lee. Keith Lee's in the discussions and in the headlines, and then all of a sudden Keith Lee somehow returns to AEW television a month from now after everybody has sparked conversation about Keith Lee. What do you make of this?
No, I don't think that's what's going on here. I think, if Alvarez is hearing that, it probably makes a lot of sense that he would be done, or else he would have been back a long time ago. I don't know that he's been gone this entire time just due to health issues. Maybe he got over that a while ago, and dude, so many years have gone by. It would be more of a shock to me if we did see him back in the ring. So I can 100% believe that, to say that his career is over, neither one of us know for sure. We don't know what's in his head, if he has any desire to make a return somewhere. If he did, it would probably be in AEW, because think of all the time he's missed that Tony Khan could tack onto his contract.
Yeah.
Is he even still under contract to AEW? I'd imagine he is. But whatever his reasons were, if he made that decision, I would think if he wanted to come back and wrestle, it would have happened by now. I mean, you don't think Tony Khan would love to make use of Keith Lee on television?
Sure.
It's got to be a reason why he's just, hasn't come back. I can believe that there were health issues, and where his head is at on that. Did that have an impact on his decision, if this is true, not to want to come back to the ring? Did he lose his desire for it? I don't know. I wish I knew. It's been very weird how there was like no news about him for the longest time. And now we're hearing about this all of a sudden. So I wonder what sparked that conversation that Alvarez would have heard that. Obviously, people are chirping about it. So what do they know that we don't? Did he tell a bunch of people that, hey, I think I'm done? Or is this them just speculating because they haven't seen him backstage at the shows for a very long time? So I don't know for sure what's going on here, but I think it's some sort of weird plan to get people talking about him and then bring him back? I don't think that's what's going on here.
Well, the whole topic got started with the whole Mia Yim thing. They have confirmed their split. They're no longer married. So obviously then people start asking, well, what happened to Keith Lee? Where's Keith Lee? Is Keith Lee all right? So one thing led to another. But I wish him nothing but the best. If Tony Khan does not want to utilize Keith Lee, which, like you said, I don't believe Tony would not want to use him. If Tony has no plans for him, I just, this is something that has been a recurring theme over 7 years. If you don't have use for somebody, or if you're just going to hold them hostage, let them go instead of paying them. So I don't understand why he continues to employ people that he just does not want to use. Let them go elsewhere. Clearly, he has no use for them. They're not going to be much of a difference maker if they land anywhere else. They get to go and work somewhere else. I don't know. But
yeah, and again, we don't know if that. I don't know if that's the case here or not. Again, he was a tag team champion with Swerve. It's not like he wasn't being used. It just he disappeared one day, and it didn't make any sense. So I have to imagine that he's the kind of guy that if he was healthy and he was ready and he went to Tony Khan and said, "Hey, I'm ready to get back in the game." I mean, Tony has to know that there would be a lot of goodwill and people who would love to see him come back because he has been gone for so long. And I would think he would want to tap into that and he would want to use that and bring him back. I don't know what position he would be in on the card. I don't know if he'd be a main eventer one day or just use him, as just another guy. But the fact that his name hasn't even been brought up, I don't know that it's like a Britt Baker situation, which is also very weird. And in that case, I'm sure there is something going on as to why Tony is not using her, because even she's made comments like, hey, I don't know, I'm not the person to ask. So that's just a weird situation. With Keith Lee, he's not very active on social media. He doesn't do interviews. He just sort of very quietly went away, and nobody even knew until today that the two of them had gotten a divorce, which, I mean, why would we know? But people were shocked by this because I think Mia, she was responding to comments under a TikTok video, and she's like, no, we've been divorced, and I think it's been over a year, and people are like, oh my God, how did we not know about this? Well, gee, I don't have my spreadsheet of all the wrestler marriages and relationships. I don't keep track of this stuff.
Oh man, how am I going to live my life, man? Mia Yim and Keith Lee got divorced. What am I going to do?
I mean, people were losing their minds with the Jey Uso stuff. This will just send them over the edge. So... But, again, no one hears from him. He keeps a very low profile, right? He's not really out there on social media. So I don't know what's going on in the guy's head. I don't know if he wants to come back to wrestling. I don't know if he wants to do something else within wrestling. And maybe there are health considerations. I don't know. But again, I wish him well, too. He's someone who a lot of people figured there's big things in this guy's future. And then to see how it played out, like if you would have told me that 5 years ago or 6 years ago, I would have said, nah, there's no way. Look at this guy. He's sharing a spot with Brock Lesnar in the Royal Rumble. He's bumping fists with Roman Reigns. This guy's got big things in his future. And then look what happened. And like you said, that was COVID.
Yeah.
COVID really just wrecked his career. Think about it.
Yeah, one of the unfortunate what-ifs here with Keith Lee. Hopefully we see him back one day. He is somebody that, in my personal opinion, if you take him even now at 41 years old, if he is completely healthy and ready to go, he fits right in like a glove on AEW television. With the talent that they have over there, Fletcher and Takeshita and Hangman and anybody, really. I mean, there's so much real estate for him to work with there. So hopefully we do see him back. Yeah.
Indubitably.
House of Glory, maybe. I don't know.
Sure.
I'd love to see that. Get him and Dijak back in the ring. You're the commissioner.
Well, we had a show last year. God, was it last year? Was it the year? It was last year. Last year in Dallas. And there was talk like during the show that he had stopped by and that he was maybe visiting with some of the talent. I missed him. I would have loved the chance to just say hello. Apparently he was like hanging around or whatever. So I kind of had hope. I go, well, if maybe he's getting close to a return, I mean, that would be fantastic. If maybe we can get him in, and if he's, willing to do a match, that would be huge. What a great coup that would be, right? To get Keith Lee in one of his first matches back. And then things just kind of died down, and again, didn't really hear anything and didn't even think of it. And then this comes up. So whatever's going on with him, hopefully health-wise, at least he's doing well. Because you look at the trajectory of his career over the last several years. Then you hear this stuff about the guy got a divorce. That's a lot. You know what I mean? Like in a
if there's anything that's going to kill your passion for wrestling, I mean, that'll do it right there.
I'm not even talking just about his passion for wrestling. I go, all these terrible things are like happening to this guy, and I'm like, I just hope, mentally, hopefully he's doing okay.
Well, hopefully we do see him back soon, and this is all just a nothing burger as far as Keith Lee. So we'll keep an eye on that, but that was the news today. We'll keep with the AEW stuff because it was a big AEW week, believe it or not. Not as far as news-wise, but we had a major title change on Wednesday night's Dynamite, Beach Break Edition. And we'll get to the Omega MJF stuff, which I thought the match was fantastic, which is, I mean, not surprising seeing who's in the ring. But as far as Beach Break, I said this across my show on Wednesday last week with Jesse. I said it today with Coach, really heaping a lot of praise on the Beach Break concept, Jason. They nailed the location perfectly. The setting was great. I love the outdoor venues personally when you go, especially in the summertime when it's still, sunlight out at like 8 o'clock, 8:30 going to 9 o'clock, and then the sun slowly starts to set and you get that kind of day to night feel live there out in the open. the ring ropes. They got the ring ropes to match the whole vibe. They got the lifeguard tower on the stage, the sands, the beach balls, the whole ambiance of it. The crowd was lively all night. They really nailed Beach Break, and I got to give Tony Khan a lot of credit because where WWE would never do this ever, and they forgot to have fun, Tony made it and made it really special. He went above and beyond, and it really looked like that he had a fun time preparing for this show and really kind of getting it to where it needed to be on Wednesday night. I thought it was a great show.
Yeah, and again, we joked about it last week. The idea of doing beach break shows in the spring or the winter, or from Ohio or whatever, it was just a waste of the concept. Why wouldn't you save that for the summer, have some fun with it, do an outdoor location? What it reminded me of? It was very much reminded me of Daly's Place.
Yes,
because it's very similar. It's an outdoor amphitheater. They can't go to Daly's Place anymore because there's renovations going on at the stadium next door. So the earliest they could be back there is, I think, 2028. This is the closest thing to Daly's Place. The only thing missing, if I had one critique, the only thing missing was like a pool or something that they could have utilized. Somebody could have gotten tossed in the pool. That would have been fun. But I loved it. They had the sand and the lifeguard chair and everything on the stage. So I like it when they can venture out and go to these unique locations. And if they could kind of time them to whatever time of year it is, Halloween rolls around, you do a Halloween theme show. I love stuff like that. Like NXT has taken the Halloween Havoc concept. I don't know why. I was always hoping the main roster in WWE, if they had the rights to the name, why not do Halloween Havoc? And they never did. So when NXT started doing it and they got the wheel that you spin and everything else, I said, that's cool. Yeah. I like stuff like that.
Yeah, AEW's got a nice kind of consistency from pay-per-view into special event on a Dynamite back into a pay-per-view. We have Beach Break here on Wednesday night last week, and then we're coming up on Grand Slam Mexico coming up in August, which is a couple of weeks away. Mm-hmm. I like that there's breaks in between these pay-per-views, especially coming out of Forbidden Door, which happened at the end of June, and we have to wait all the way up. Well, we got Redemption coming up, but Redemption going into All In. I like the in-between shows. It makes Dynamite feel special. It gives you a reason on a special night to tune into Dynamite, whereas you might not tune in every week. Gives you a reason to tune in. He loads it up like a pay-per-view, which was exactly what he did on Wednesday night. WWE doesn't do that. They have Saturday night's main event, and they have that for that reason, to be that in-between show before the pay-per-views, and they just waste the whole fucking concept, which is what we're going to talk about a little later. That this Madison Square Garden show, even though they added that big tag team main event, still feels like an absolute waste of time. So I like these in-between shows. I wish Raw would have a special theme show or SmackDown have a special theme. It's just like the same shit every week.
Yeah, and it's not like they haven't done it before. I mean, you can go all the way back. My God, you want to go all the way back to a real cheesy concept. You go back to '96, so we're talking 30 years now. And they remember the Raw Bowl?
Yes.
Yeah, they did that because they had Bowl Week at the beginning of January, so they had the Raw Bowl. And so the mat in the ring looked like a football field. The referee was dressed like an NFL referee. He would throw a flag for any violations. He blew a whistle. They had to wear these. It was the cheesiest thing. But that's kind of like similar to what you're talking about, where they would come up with some sort of theme and they would lean into it. And, even when they would go to Vegas sometimes, they would do Raw Roulette. When was the last time we saw Raw Roulette?
I can't even tell you.
Years and years ago. I mean, it may go back to when Bischoff
the fucking wheel is now used on Halloween Havoc every year.
Right. So, yeah, you're right. I mean, unfortunately, on the main roster, they don't really get out of their comfort zone. They don't like doing that sort of thing. I wish they would.
No, it's too cheesy. It's too carny for them, I guess. Everything's got to be so corporate for WWE. But Tony looked like he had fun putting the show together, and it really showed. Tommaso Ciampa beat Chris Jericho in the opening match. Really good stuff there. I didn't really give this a lot of... I guess I wasn't excited coming into this. So this was the first of what I think is going to be another match here between these two because the way that it ended. Ciampa beat Jericho. Really good stuff. They worked together very well. Jericho got busted open. Post-match, Ciampa grabbed the chair. He grabbed a power drill. So I'm assuming these two might have a match in Canada. Are you feeling the same way with Jericho in Montreal against Ciampa? Yeah.
Yeah, and the power drill is going to come into play.
Yeah.
So get ready.
In what way? In what way?
I don't know, but I'm sure Jericho is not taking a bump onto the power drill. If anything, it'll be Ciampa. But I'm sure that's going to come into play. Ugh. I did like when Ciampa took the power drill after the match, and he had that floaty, and he stuck it in the floaty, and it was spinning around and around. I thought that was kind of cool.
Man, we got Ciampa doing his thing on Dynamite. He's not in a major role, but at least he's being featured on television, and you get to see how great he is. While Johnny Gargano is still just comatose on a production crate somewhere, where right now, if you go, I don't know where it is, but I saw today that Johnny Gargano will be doing a photo op, and he's going to be laying on the crate during the entire photo op.
I think, is it Fanatics?
It might have been, yeah.
Yeah, it's either Fanatics or maybe SummerSlam weekend.
Yeah,
because I think he tweeted. He said, "Just be aware," and he highlighted the fine print under the listing that said Johnny will be planking for the photo op.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, which makes me think that they think this is a thing, and so he's going to be planking for a while yet.
Yes, he will. Sadly, when his contract is up, I don't know. But
do you think he'll go into the Hall of Fame planking?
Yes.
Don't laugh at the concept of him going into the Hall of Fame, but like, let's assume he was to go into the Hall of Fame one day. I know he's not going to, but if he did, would they wheel him out onto the stage and have Candace actually like do the acceptance speech?
Yes,
really?
Absolutely.
Wow.
When is his contract up so we could get Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano back to go as DIY? Imagine them in that tag team division that soon will be at full strength in AEW.
I assume that's what the end game is going to be here. I don't know how long he has left on his contract, how long Candace has left on her contract. My guess is that at the end of that contract, either he's gone or he's going to be gone, not of his choice, sometime before that.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, again, I don't take pleasure saying that, but I mean, come on. You kind of see the writing on the wall.
We do, sadly. Yeah. Johnny Wrestling was great, and now all of a sudden he's just a non-existent entity on Friday Night SmackDown. Konosuke Takeshita, Kyle Fletcher for the AEW International Championship. Really good stuff here. We talked about this last week. Takeshita is competing in the G1 Climax, which is ongoing right now and will last the next month. So he will be back just a couple weeks shy of All In. Fletcher is the new TNT champion. Really good stuff here, Jason. What'd you make of this match? Obviously, we talked about Fletcher winning the title back. Great stuff here by these two guys.
Yeah, excellent match. I'm happy that he won it on that turnbuckle brainbuster and there was no kick out on that move. Thank God. So it was exactly what I expected because I knew Takeshita was going to go away. So why not switch the title? He can challenge to chase for it when he comes back. Maybe throw Okada in there. So I liked it. Then I saw Mick Foley come out.
Yeah.
And Mick Foley was in the ring beefing. He was interviewing Fletcher in the ring, and I'm like, don't tell me they're setting something up here.
Well, Mick Foley, yeah, I don't know what this was about. Mick Foley came out. They mentioned that he hasn't been on TBS since 1994, so he got a huge pop there in Clearwater. So he's talking about how great Takeshita is and how great Kyle Fletcher is. This was a great match that we just saw, and he gets into it with Don Callis, and they go back and forth. So apparently, this all got to a point where Andrade came out here, and we have a match now with Andrade against Jake Doyle. And if Andrade beats Jake Doyle, he gets Mark Davis for the national championship. So I guess Andrade might not be chasing the world championship anymore, being that MJF isn't the world champion. I don't know where they're going with that. But this all led to Darby Allin, Jason, coming out and beating up Kevin Knight. And then Brian Cage and Jake Doyle, they kind of chase him to the back. And we get this, I don't know what you call this. The skateboard of Darby Allin exploded across Brian Cage's back. Andrade standing there with the detonator. And they all look at him holding the detonator. It's like some fucking scene out of like Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner. And they all point at him and he's holding it. And he's yelling, "How you know? How you know?" Like, bro. And then that was the end of the segment.
They're gonna run that into the ground.
Yes, they are.
End up doing.
But going back to Mick Foley, did you get a sense of being with what we got last week and the reports coming out of Darby Allin saying that he wouldn't want to wrestle Mick Foley one-on-one, but I would certainly tag with Mick Foley? Did you get a sense that Mick Foley may be getting set up for a tag team match going into All In with Darby Allin?
Yeah, I mean, I could see it. I could see it. It's hard to tell because they brought him in as a member of the broadcast team. So you could just kind of look at it and go, well, he's part of the broadcast team. So they sent him out there to do an interview, and there's nothing more to read into here. We know he's going to wrestle at some point. I guess the only question is, would he wrestle that quickly, that he would have a match, at the end of August? I don't know. I didn't, you can't really figure it out just based off one segment. if let's say Foley is involved in some way again this week in a segment with the Callis family, then you start to see a pattern develop. And then maybe I could see a tag team match. And then as far as what that match would be, I mean, take your pick. You got so many members of the Callis family to choose from. I mean, Fletcher, I'm sure, will be defending his title, but I mean, you've got Jake Doyle, you've got Mark Davis, you've got Cage and Archer, and on and on and on. So we have to wait and see. If this becomes a recurring thing where Foley is constantly being shit on by Don Callis, or he's cutting promos on Don Callis, then yeah, there's probably some smoke to the fire there. Because here's the thing. I thought that they might hold off until All In and have Darby challenge Kevin Knight there for the TNT title. My guess is that we're going to get it at Redemption.
Yeah.
If we do, then I start to question, well, what is the role for Darby at Wembley? If they're going to do that match at Redemption, maybe it's a tag team match.
Possibly. I don't know. Darby and Mick Foley versus Kevin Knight, and take your pick out of the Don Callis family, I guess. Mark Davis. Who knows?
Well, there's a very good chance Mark Davis may no longer be the national champion by then. So I guess you could have Mark Davis in that match. It is kind of interesting that right now, as of this moment, both members of Aussie Open have singles titles in AEW, which I think is kind of cool, because Fletcher, I think he was getting the big push last year. You kind of knew like this is the direction for him, but I never would have guessed, that Mark Davis would have caught on like in a singles role like this. And if you look at Fletcher's Instagram, he posted some photo. He did like a photo shoot with the title, and the last photo in the photo shoot is just him and Davis with their titles. And I'm like looking at that. I'm like, you know what? That's pretty cool. Because I'm sure there were people who looked at the split, of Aussie Open, and Fletcher's going on to bigger things. And, Davis is going to be the Jannetty of the team, and I'm happy he's having single success, because I'm a fan of his, and it's not something that I was really expecting, Plus he had a real tough time with like injuries and stuff. So I think it's cool. I feel like if he wrestles Andrade, that's going to be the end of him as the national champion. But I've been digging it.
Well, I mean, a lot of us wrote Mark Davis off because Kyle Fletcher's split from Mark Davis and Aussie Open was finished. And then all of a sudden he gets paired with Jake Doyle. Actually, before that, he was just kind of floating around, like not doing anything. They didn't even have a role for him. Then they pair him with Jake Doyle. Jake something is, one of those guys that you and I repeatedly talked about. How did TNA drop the ball with that? It's like, and then he ends up in AEW. And then Doyle goes down. And then like Mark Davis is like, oh, fuck, what the fuck do I got to do to get ahead here? It's like, I got these obstacles in my way, one after another. And then all of a sudden he just kind of breaks out on his own. And it's a testament to how good he is as a pro wrestler. I didn't realize how good he was. I thought Fletcher was the guy that everybody was going to be looking at as this is the guy in the group out of the tag team that's going to be the better pro wrestler of the two. But, I would absolutely put Mark Davis up against Kyle Fletcher any day of the week. That's how good he is.
Yeah, I mean, I knew how good he was because they were a great tag team, and you could see that both of them were great. I just felt to me like Fletcher was going to be the one to get the bigger push because he had maybe a better look, or he could cut promos. He had a little more charisma maybe than Davis did, because we don't really hear from Davis, right? He's that big hoss guy who goes out there and just has these rough and tumble matches with people, and he has a hell of a pile driver. I'll say that much. But beyond that, yeah, I mean, it's just you didn't really hear from him. We didn't get a sense of his personality or anything. So it's like, yeah, well, Fletcher will be the one that gets that kind of rocket strapped to him. I don't think Mark Davis is ever going to have a rocket strapped to him, but as long as he's getting some sort of, meaningful singles push, I think that's great.
He's a good hand for that international, national, continental title scene. So,
well, let me say this. We talked about Sheamus last week. And so if we assume that Sheamus is going to eventually end up in AEW, how's that for a match? Sheamus against Mark Davis.
Sign me up.
Hell yeah.
That's a banger match right there. That's someone that I'm sure Mr. Farrelly would love to go out there and wrestle. Yes.
Yes, not Farrelly.
Let's see what happens with Sheamus.
And open his own pizzeria.
Yeah, Farrelly. It's me, Farrelly.
Farrelly's. Yes.
Anyway, moving on with the Dynamite stuff here. We had a women's casino gauntlet. This was for the number one contendership and Thekla at Redemption. Now, Jesse and I were of the assumption that Thekla was drinking what, Jason? A Mai Tai, a pina colada?
Was it a pina colada or like
tequila
a
sunrise?
strawberry daiquiri? I don't know.
Was she inebriated?
I feel like this is just Thekla. I don't know that she was inebriated. I think that I lost track of how many times she called people bitch on commentary. But again, that's Thekla. You know.
Well, she also said, which I attributed to drinking a little bit of the adult beverage, and then the truth comes out. She absolutely blurted out, "I don't even think Willow was injured."
Yes, and the announcers went silent. They didn't pursue it. They didn't follow up on it. They didn't push back on it. They just were like, "Let's move on. Let's move on."
I'm glad she said it and nobody else didn't. But this is something that we talked about the last couple of weeks, which leads us into this gauntlet match. Athena and Maya World started off. There was Sky Blue, Mina Shirakawa, Rena, Julia Hart, Thunder Rosa, and Willow Nightingale came out at number 8. There was only 8 women in this. I thought this was probably the worst gauntlet match that Tony Khan has done. This was absolutely nothing more than giving Willow the opportunity to win a match so that they can call her number 1 contender. And that's exactly what happened. We called this for the last couple of weeks. I'm sure both of us on our individual platforms and here. Willow coming back. She's the number 1 contender now, Jason, against Thekla. And it looks like, from our vantage point coming out of Beach Break last week, that Willow may actually go on and beat Thekla and go back to wrestle Mercedes at All In for the AEW Women's Championship, which at that point, I mean, it's up for discussion. Does Willow become a transitional champion to Mercedes, or does Mercedes continue to lose the big one and not win the Women's Championship?
Yeah, I don't think it's a guarantee that she's winning that championship. You would think so. And again, I think I mentioned this last week. I'm not really a fan of having her win the Owen twice and then lose twice. But I don't think it's any kind of slam dunk that Mercedes is going to win the title. It feels to me like Willow and Mercedes is going to be the direction here. It would be a little weird, not impossible, but a little weird if they did Mercedes and Thekla. You had 2 heels. I mean, is that what they want to do? Willow is she's a great baby face. So, I mean, the dynamic there is perfect. They've had a couple of really great matches before. I'd be fine with that as the match. I would feel bad, Thekla rolling into the biggest show of the year. They had taken the belt off of her, and then what does she do on that show? But she's been champion now since, what is it? Was it World's End? When did she win that title?
Who?
Thekla.
Thekla? She...
Was it November, December? Sometime around then?
I don't remember for sure, but she's been the champion for the majority of this year. I know that. Yeah.
So I mean, she's been champion, I feel like, for about 6 or 7 months now.
Yeah.
So I mean, if she did lose it at Redemption, it's not like it wouldn't feel too sudden, like they took it off her after 90 days or something like that. But I think she's done well in the role. I remember when she first debuted, I know you used to joke about it. Like, I don't even know what this woman's voice sounds like because we didn't hear from her. And then all of a sudden she won't shut up now. She's on commentary. She's just, talking every week. She's one of the highlights of the show most of the time. So she's done really well. And hopefully when she loses the belt, whether it's Redemption or All In, it's going to happen on one of those 2 shows. Hopefully she continues to be one of the more, entertaining parts of the women's division, because when you look at AEW and you look at some of those like AEW original, quote unquote, AEW original stars, she's one of them. She didn't come from WWE like Mercedes did. Thekla, I didn't know too much about her before she showed up in AEW. I heard good things about her, but I'd be lying if I said, oh yeah, I know her whole catalog of work. Like, no, I was like, all right, we're going to see what this woman can do. I didn't know that, on kind of like the character end of things, she was going to be so entertaining. So win or lose, I think Thekla has been one of the more entertaining acts on Dynamite this year. But I think her reign is coming to an end very soon.
What she does going into Wembley, I don't know. But I know Jesse at some point is going to be upset because he thinks Thekla should be at All In defending the title. But like you said, baby face and heel is the way to go here with Mercedes and Willow, and Mercedes and Thekla just sounds like an odd match to do, both being heels. So
yeah, and also like they went through the trouble of, this injury, whether it was a real injury or an angle. She has her big comeback and wins the gauntlet to do what? To go in there at Redemption and lose?
Yeah,
it would just seem like a waste. It feels like everything is being kind of like Ospreay. It feels like everything is being set up for her to go in there and win.
I don't know. Maybe we'll see Tony Storm come back, and maybe Thekla and Tony Storm have a one-on-one match at Wembley Stadium. I don't know.
Well, that's the wild card. We were never told what the issue was with Tony Storm. Everybody assumed what it was, which if it is, we're not going to see her. But if it's not that, sure, she could come back. If she comes back, then I mean, there's no telling what they could do. I mean, they could do Tony and Thekla non-title as a match and kind of feud them, and we could find out who attacked her, and it can be so who attacked Tony Storm, right? I mean, are they going to
I forgot about that. Now that you just mentioned it, I completely forgot about that angle.
Yeah, so I mean, if she was going to come back soon, you got to pay that angle off. You can't just write it off and forget about it. So that would be great. I don't know how realistic that is, though.
Yeah.
We haven't heard anything about it.
Nothing.
It's so weird. She's just like, we know that it's not an injury. We were told that, and then nothing else. What else are people supposed to think other than the obvious?
I don't know. Let people talk. None of my business. None of your business.
Yeah. No, I miss seeing her on TV. So, we're having a discussion about Tony Storm potentially coming back. It's going to come up.
So, yeah, maybe we'll get that. But Willow is the number one contender here for the AEW Women's Championship, and she will be wrestling Thekla at Redemption. Post-match, Lena and Megan Bayne. They are attacking Julia Hart and Sky Blue on the ramp. And then, obviously, with Mercedes, she was out there sitting in the lifeguard's chair. She stood tall at the end of this segment with Divine Dominion. I don't know if there's going to be some soft partnership there. We'll see what happens.
I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
I couldn't get a real read on it if it was just kind of a 1 week thing leading to maybe a multi-woman tag and that's it.
Probably.
Or if this is going to become a regular. Yeah, probably. But I mean, if it becomes a regular thing, I'd be cool with that.
Yeah. Yeah, they fit very well together. Jungle Jack. Before we get to Jungle Jack, look at this guy coming in. Oh my goodness. We got
bombs dropping.
We got a bomb here. My guy Ali S. with a $100 super chat. JD, here's a 100 bomb to you, my friend. You always make my day no matter what I enjoy. Your Tuesday nights with Solomonster, it's the best ever. And plus your AEW Dynamite review with Jesse, OTS for life. Another round of applause for my guy, Ali.
Look at this guy. Ali, look at this guy. Showing off. Love it.
Thank you, Ali. Appreciate you being here, brother. Jack Perry. There was a lot about Jack Perry and where he was going to end up. Was he staying with AEW? Or was he going to NXT to wrestle in Orlando? We had no idea. But we come to find out that Jack Perry is staying with AEW, and he actually saved signing his contract with AEW until Wednesday when they filmed the vignette, Jason, where he sat side by side with Luchasaurus and Tony Khan and signed his contract to remain with AEW. WrestleVotes on Fightful Select learned that on the WWE front, there was very little to no discussions whatsoever about the possibility of pursuing Jack Perry in the case that he entered free agency. Sources indicate that there was never much of an appetite to bring Jack Perry into the company. Gee, I'm shocked. The prevailing feeling was that he didn't fit in WWE's current landscape and was never viewed as a realistic target. So he's staying with AEW. I think you and I both agree that this is probably the best situation for Jack Perry. Now, he did say in this promo he wants to win the AEW World Championship. I sure, that's a great goal to have. Everybody should want to win the AEW World Championship. But
he's got a hell of a lot better chance in AEW than he would have in WWE.
Yes,
so if that's his goal, then he's in the right place.
There's a certain man in WWE by the name of CM Punk who probably would block a Jack Perry signing to WWE.
So are you saying that Jack Perry would be banned from SmackDown? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Just like everybody was banned from Collision?
Yes.
We're going to go through
Absolutely.
this all. Are you calling him a petty man?
He can be, yeah. He can be.
The hell you say?
Jack Perry staying with AEW. This is the best move for him, especially with Luchasaurus hopefully getting back to full health, which I think Jurassic Express is great. With that tag team division and what it may look like in the next 2 or 3 weeks, that's the best place for him. So Jack Perry is staying with AEW. They did a vignette on Wednesday. MJF and Kenny Omega, the big one. This is what we're here to talk about. AEW World Championship on the line here. Tremendous main event. Not surprised. This is the third match between these two in AEW. Out of all of them, I actually enjoyed still, Jason, their first one on Collision all those years ago. That was my favorite one.
Is that their longest
I think
one?
so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
that was a really good match.
Yeah. This one was very good. So I actually enjoyed this one more so than the pay-per-view match. I just love the whole setting, and the crowd was on fire here. MJF, Kenny Omega, great match. He came out, I think he was inspired, was MJF. Bam Bam Bigelow colors. Did you see his outfit? His ring attire?
I did. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
'Cause I did notice that.
Yeah.
Now that you mention it, I noticed the ropes were almost like a peach color.
Yeah, I mentioned
Kinda
that
like
when
orange.
I talked about, they definitely enhanced the ring ropes with the color scheme to match
For like
beach
the
break.
beach theme.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. This was a tremendous match. At the end here, because what we're going to talk about primarily is the decision here to crown a new champion. MJF rolled to the outside. He grabbed the AEW World Championship. He brought it into the ring. Bryce Remsburg, who was the referee in this match, caught MJF, took it away. MJF then went right to the Dynamite Diamond Ring like he usually does, only for Will Ospreay to come on out and pull it away because MJF was near the ropes and Ospreay was on the stage. And as MJF went to go put the ring on, Ospreay pulled it off his finger. So Bryce Remsburg and MJF's attention turns here. Omega had the championship, and he was about to use the title on MJF, but thought otherwise. He tossed the title to the side, and MJF immediately hit a low blow and used the belt on Omega with a belt shot. Omega kicks out of one like he's Hulk Hogan in 1991, and he exploded up at a 1 count. Everybody's on their feet. They're going crazy. Crowd is really hot here. So Ospreay, they had a great camera shot of Ospreay shocked on the stage. So Omega then takes it to MJF with some V-triggers, 3 of them to be exact. 1 winged angel, 1, 2, 3. World Championship now belongs to Kenny Omega. Crowd went crazy. They showed the graphic, and they immediately went off the air on TBS. I'll give you the floor, Jason. I have a lot to say personally about this. All I will say is I don't like it. I think everybody is very well known as to how I feel about MJF deserving the spot at Wembley. Now we may be looking at no MJF in the main event. I am not married to the idea of Omega and Ospreay, and I don't really give a shit what their history is in New Japan. That's just me personally.
Well, I mean, it's not only their history in New Japan. I mean, they had a match at Forbidden Door, right? That Ospreay won. So,
which was very violent, if I remember, correct?
Well, didn't he give him the Tiger Driver?
He did.
Yes. Yeah. So I think that was in that match. And they were great matches. And I guess I think they're knotted up now. And so there's history there. And they've had these segments on television where they've been telegraphing this for a while, that this could be the direction. Remember those segments in the trainer's room?
Mm-hmm.
We're kind of eavesdropping on their conversation. And I thought those were great segments. But that's where it started to become like, oh, wait a minute. Maybe we're not getting MJF and Ospreay. And then, first of all, let's take it back to when this was announced. And I was floored by this because you have this pay-per-view coming up in Montreal called Redemption.
Yeah.
And I think MJF and Kenny have both dropped Redemption mentions at various points in their promos, and everything seemed to be building to that match. And I know Meltzer reported this week that was the plan. And somebody, I guess, got in Tony Khan's ear, possibly MJF himself, and they decided to bump the match up to Beach Break. Now, why they would decide to do that? Was it a case where, let's just say it was MJF's idea? Were they just trying to pop a big rating and he was taking one for the team? Hey, why don't we do this on TV and do a big number? I don't know. Maybe because they did do a bigger number than they usually do. It was like 774,000 or something like that.
Yeah, it's the biggest rating in 2 years.
And so, okay, I mean, I guess if that was the goal, then sure, but it made no sense to me that you would do this match on television this week and not save it for your Redemption show. And I still sit here and I'm still kind of floored by that decision. The match itself was excellent. I thought, look, within 48 hours last week, we got what I thought were 2 excellent main events for the world title and 2 world title changes. We had CM Punk and Sami Zayn had an excellent match. And then Omega and MJF went out there and they had an excellent match. So in terms of that, we got really great wrestling in those main events last week. Now MJF is no longer the champion. I also think after the year that he's had, You're going into your biggest show of the year. MJF should be in the main event in Wembley Stadium. Right now, it looks like he's not going to be. There's going to be speculation that maybe he could be added and you make it a three-way. I don't think that's going to happen.
It don't make sense.
I don't think it should happen. I think at this point, like, you've made the decision you've made. And to me, it wouldn't even really make any sense, right? He's a heel. And so if you were going to be adding a baby face that the fans were really into and wanted badly to see in the main event of Wembley go for the world championship, you could find a way to work that person into the match and make it a three-way. But you're talking about a heel. So there's no real good way to do it anyway. So they made the decision to go with Omega and Ospreay, and that's the way it is. MJF's not going to be a part of it. And so I think that sucks. I'm not as against the idea as you are of seeing Omega and Ospreay. I do think that's still a big match to do at Wembley Stadium. If you're looking at, like, what's the biggest main event that we can do, it's not a bad main event, right?
No.
It's totally different dynamic because you have two baby faces. And so it's very different than taking your top heel, who people are going to want to see get beat. They're going to want to see him lose the championship. To be honest with you, I think when they decided to take the belt off of him and put it on Darby, that right there took some of the piss out of having MJF defend at Wembley. If he had been the champion straight through from the beginning of the year, and nobody could beat this guy, not Brody King, not Hangman, not Darby, nobody, Kenny, nobody. And then Will Ospreay finally comes along and he's the guy, right, to take that championship away from MJF. To me, it would have meant more. Once you start bouncing the belt back and forth like that, it doesn't mean the same anymore. And so the MJF thing is now, as far as I'm concerned, that's out the window. What I look at Redemption now, like, what are they going to do for Redemption? What is MJF going to do at Redemption? One idea that you could go with, you could do MJF and Ospreay, do it at Redemption, with the idea that if MJF can beat him, then he would be added to the main event at Wembley Stadium. So you tease the idea, because I think people would probably buy into it, like, oh yeah, okay, he's going to win, because what else is he going to do on that London show? But then he loses, and Ospreay beats him, and he's not added to the main event. So you could do that stipulation. I certainly wouldn't want to see Ospreay putting his fucking title shot on the line, because that would be as stupid as what we heard from Oba Femi last night. So you don't do that. That's one possibility. There's one more I want to float. I don't really believe this is what they're going to do. You could do, because there's Kenny Omega. What does he do? And I know we'll get to the rumor that popped up today, but you could do Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley on that show, with the idea that if Moxley wins, he's the champion. Ospreay has to now beat Moxley at Wembley if he wants to win the title. Which, if you think about it, story-wise, actually would make a lot of sense. But I wouldn't do it. I don't think even doing the match is a good idea, just because Kenny, I'm sure, would win, and I wouldn't be beating Moxley at all until he eventually gets in the ring with Ospreay. But I just put that out there because that also could create an interesting dynamic where, holy shit, if Moxley wins, this makes all the sense in the world, because this is the final test, right? It's the final test for Will. You want to be the champion, you got to go through this guy who, you've been under his wing now for months, and the last time that the two of them wrestled, he got beat by Moxley. Story-wise, it would work. So they have a few different options as far as opponents for them at Redemption. I don't hate the idea as much as you hate the idea of them doing that match, but I agree it should be MJF in that spot. I think on that, you and I are in agreement.
Yeah, the match is going to be great.
It's going to be a great match.
I have no problem watching two fantastic pro wrestlers go out and give us a professional wrestling match. That's not the point that I'm trying to make. And I've been trying to explain this to the sickos. They don't understand. I just, something bothers me as far as a fan to AEW and watching Tony Khan operate the way that he does. Like, we've just said this, and we've said this for weeks. MJF losing to Darby, I hated it. But everybody's telling me, give it a chance. Let's see the story ride out. I didn't understand it, because we all expected MJF to win it back in Queens at Double or Nothing, which he did. Then I start hearing rumors. I heard rumors as far back as February, what the All In main event was going to be. I had a feeling they were going to go Ospreay. Jason even mentioned it way back when, here on TNT as well. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Ospreay and Omega end up being the main event. The people were talking about it very early on before Double or Nothing. And we get to Double or Nothing. MJF wins the title back. And then he has this short reign. What was it, like 40 days or so? And then he drops the belt right back to Kenny Omega. And now he's in a situation where we don't know where he's going to fit on the All In card. This guy has been the catalyst for an upswing in ratings. This guy's been the catalyst for upswing in Livegate. This guy's been the catalyst for upswing in just overall interest and making your main event scene, which was complete dog shit last year, one of the hottest it's been ever in AEW. So as a fan, I'm looking at that as you take the biggest heel and the catalyst for everything that is positive this year for AEW, you put him in the main event like Jason said. It would have been a great story to see MJF unbeatable all year, only for Ospreay to beat him. Heel, biggest heel in the business versus Shawn Michaels basically here in AEW trying to achieve his boyhood dream come true. That's what that was the story. That's all you needed.
Well, but let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Do you think what factored into this decision, did they look at it and go, this is too predictable? If we do the ultra heel MJF, who's been dominant all year, going into London against Will Ospreay, who had to survive this entire tournament, he got the shot. This is too predictable. So why don't we have Kenny Omega in there, because he's a big name, he's a baby face, and now the fans maybe are torn. Like, maybe they don't want Omega to lose. Maybe they figure, oh, he just won the belt. Maybe he's not going to lose it so quickly. And is that part of what's going on here? That they felt the other scenario is just far too predictable, and this injects a little bit of, I guess, unpredictability into it. Is that what's going on here?
Don't you think both matches are kind of predictable? Omega, Ospreay, and then Ospreay, MJF?
Oh, I think Ospreay's winning no matter what.
Yeah.
I think any other outcome here is ludicrous. No matter what anybody says, I think any other outcome in this situation is absolutely ridiculous. Because you've had Will Ospreay, who for a few years now, like, he's had different opportunities and he hasn't been able to do it. Like, even when he lost to Swerve, and that was 2 years ago at this point. And then he had the broken neck, and he had to come back, and he had to go through the Owen, and he has this other story with the Death Riders where they're kind of building him from the ground up. It's like, how much longer do you want to fucking wait? I got to be honest with you. I think this is the last Wembley Stadium show they're going to do.
Yeah, they have to. Yeah.
So this may be their last shot, in London at Wembley to belt up Ospreay. I think any other outcome but him winning is ridiculous. So it's going to be predictable no matter what. But would it have been more predictable with MJF in that spot? Probably. I don't know that justifies, if that's the reason, I don't know that justifies changing the main event, but that could have been the reason why. Maybe that's why they didn't want to go with that match. Remember, we had that at Wembley 2 years ago, by the way. We had MJF and Will Ospreay, and Ospreay beat him at Wembley.
And it was fucking incredible.
It was, but maybe they looked at it and said, we don't want to go and do the same match there again. Maybe that's what's going on here.
Well, with what we got on television, MJF and Ospreay have done more to sell a match now that is not happening than Ospreay and Kenny Omega have. I look at it as biggest heel versus biggest babyface. That's what I'm personally am more interested in. Other people obviously going to see it differently. A lot of people are on board with Ospreay and Omega for several reasons. One, their history. Two, this is probably the last title reign that Kenny Omega will have for a major world championship, and more than likely will really slow it down until he retires completely. And this is his last big ride off into the sunset here, so they wanted to pay it forward. And Ospreay, like you said, Wembley Stadium this year, probably going to be the last. Ospreay is not going to get this opportunity again. He wants his opponent. He wants it the way he wants it. That's fine. I look at it differently. I love the traditional sense of heel versus babyface. Tony Khan and AEW looking at it as how many stars can this match get on Dave Meltzer's star rating scale?
Well, also, I think No Way in the chat actually makes a very good point. He says this is Kenny's final run. He deserves an all-in main event. So is Tony Khan looking at this as, okay, this may be, because I got to be honest, it does feel like Kenny is in the kind of the latter stages of this last run that he's having. Not that he can't go out there and have great matches. He's been having great matches, but he's gone through a lot. And it does feel to me like maybe he's starting to wind things down. Maybe Tony Khan is looking at this. We saw this 2 years ago with Bryan Danielson. Bryan Danielson did not even want to win the world title. It was Tony Khan's idea. He insisted on it. He wanted him to get that Wembley main event, and he wanted him to go in there and win the championship and have this wonderful moment. And he did. is he looking at this and going, he knows Kenny is winding down. Kenny has not had a main event at Wembley. We got to give him a main event at Wembley. I'm sure Ospreay is also advocating for. I'm sure he would love to work with Kenny in the main event. And maybe that's part of it. Maybe he realizes this is the last chance for Kenny to get an all-in main event, so we're going to do Kenny and Ospreay at All In.
I have no problem with Kenny Omega getting an all-in main event. I just don't know why he needs to walk into All In as the champion. Like, we could have gotten Kenny at all-in main event if you did MJF Kenny Omega at Redemption like it was originally planned, and then have a fuck finish there, which leads to MJF walking in as champion and then getting a triple threat match with Omega and Ospreay. A triple threat match was the best case scenario to make everyone happy. Now you're theoretically leaving MJF with this huge question mark going into Wembley Stadium and a list of opponents to me that just doesn't interest me as a fan. Adam Page is back. I don't want to see MJF and Adam Page again, period. Andrade, it doesn't mean much to me without the World Championship. And at that point, you're really kind of looking at low-hanging fruit. Mick Foley, Darby Allin, Kevin Knight. I mean, take a look.
Do Darby Allin. You've already done that.
There's nobody else. So I'm just throwing names out there. Everybody's like, oh, and this was Jesse's argument on Wednesday. You know, MJF might not even make it to All In. The knee injury might be more serious than we're reading about. I'm like, bro, the knee injury is not a factor here. It might be a slight factor, but it's not the factor. The man wrestled Roosh where he got injured. He came back with the knee taped up a couple weeks later. He wrestled in a steel cage match on a major pay-per-view. He wrestled Mark Briscoe, and then he wrestled Kenny Omega. If the knee was injuring him or bothering him, it would have worked out differently, don't you think?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, if it was a serious knee injury, then he wouldn't have been able to do all those matches. And if it's more of a nagging knee injury, then he's gonna just tape it up until All In. He's still gonna work that show, and then he'll go away and take time off. So I don't think it's an injury issue. Look, there's a better chance that he booked a movie role and he's not going to be available than him wrestling on a really bad knee. I know he is taking on more movie roles. So, I mean, who the hell knows? I would imagine we would have heard about it if he had some big movie role coming up. So I don't think it's that either. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not all that, excited in the prospective list of opponents on that show either, unless there's somebody that you and I are not thinking of. And I feel like he should be in that main event. But at this point, what's done is done. I would not add him and make it a triple threat.
No, it don't make sense now.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. There might have been a period of time where it would have made sense to do that, or a different scenario if it played out differently. Like you said, they did it at Redemption instead. Now it doesn't make any sense at all. Now you're committed to Kenny and Ospreay, and that's great. It's going to be a great match. But what MJF does on that show is the big question mark right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say, and also in terms of when you build to All In, what does that look like when you have two baby faces? And I won't call Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega is great in the ring. Kenny Omega is not the best promo. What is that build going to look like if you just have two baby faces in the 4 weeks or whatever, leading into All In? What does that look like?
It's going to be it's going to be two brothers fighting because Moxley is going to be that shadow hanging over Ospreay, and Omega doesn't agree with Ospreay's way to get to the pinnacle of All In, being with the Death Riders. The Death Riders are going to be involved for some of this build going into All In for sure. It's going to be like, hey, little brother, I don't agree with you wrestling alongside Jon Moxley. Hey, big brother, I don't really appreciate you telling me what I can and cannot do. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be CM Punk and Cody Rhodes. I'm right, bro. That's going to happen.
We need more of that.
Yeah.
So much great time to build that up.
You mentioned Ospreay and MJF at Redemption. I could absolutely see that. I'm not a big fan of Ospreay putting his world title shot on the line.
No, I'm not advocating. Yeah, I'm not advocating that at all. What I'm saying that would be the exact wrong thing to do because that would be idiotic. What I said is First of all, I feel like you have to do MJF and Ospreay. They had a pull apart at Beach Break.
He spit on him.
He spit on him, and then they had to be separated. It was so heated. And I'm like, man, they're doing a great job of building up a match that we may not even see. So if we're not going to get it in London, I almost feel like you have to give it to us at Redemption because you've done a good job of, at least me, getting me to want to see that match. You can't then not give it to me. Do it, though, and have MJF say, if I can beat you, if you're so confident that you can beat me, when I beat you, I get added to the match. Not that your title shot is on the line, but like
Yeah.
I get added to the main event.
I like that a lot better. Yeah.
Yeah, and that works a lot better, and it doesn't make Ospreay look like a fucking idiot. So that's how I would do it.
Yeah.
And then at least, you have a match for Ospreay, you have a match for MJF. Then you just have to figure out who Kenny is going to defend his title against, and those are your two kind of headline matches for the Redemption paper.
And for all we know, they may actually be thinking that, but I think what's done is done, and I don't think they're going to mess with their one-on-one match here. I think what we got is what we're going to get. But the thing is, I had this other option, too. I said this to Jesse. Hangman's now back. Hangman came out on Collision and said that he's going to keep his promise, and he's never going to challenge for the World Championship. I call bullshit. I think he's eventually going to go back on his word, and he's going to get a championship match. So I feel like if he's back now, because Ospreay helped Hangman at All In last year, and MJF is the reason why Hangman can't get a World Championship match no more. I said, why don't we do Hangman as this kind of looming figure in the MJF Ospreay match? Ospreay fights for the right for Hangman to get his title match back. If Ospreay beats MJF, Hangman can challenge for the world title again. If MJF wins, Hangman has to, again, rescind his championship opportunity. He can't do anything. Maybe a Hangman kind of situation going into the match. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, that would have worked before that promo on Saturday. I feel like now he's made it clear, like, this is the stipulation. I don't want, anyone to say that, you should go against it, or like, I'm a man of my word. And so there's other championships to fight for. He went into the whole thing. He was listing out the TNT title and this title and that title. I mean, would he even want that? I don't get the sense that it's something that he would advocate for, that maybe he wouldn't even accept it, I mean, you could do it, but I didn't get the sense from that promo on Saturday that it was something that Hangman would even be interested in. Like, I lost the match fair and square, and that's it. I can't challenge for the world title. And so for the time being, he'll be a man of his word. You and I mean, I think are in the same boat here. Whether it takes 2 years, 3 years, if he's in this company for the long haul, there ain't no way they found it. But I don't know. I mean, would Hangman even want that? It's kind of like you're taking a shortcut around the stipulation that he agreed to. I mean, I guess you could, but I don't know. I don't know if you.
Well, like you said, he can win the Gauntlet match at All In and just say fuck the rules and win the briefcase.
Well, that was what I mentioned a few months ago. Yeah. But again, if he's saying that I will never challenge for the championship again, then why would he enter himself into a gauntlet for a shot at the championship?
Maybe he wins it and gives it up like Oba Femi gave up King of the Ring.
No, I don't think he would be that stupid. I don't think he would be that dumb. He did make it a point, though. It was interesting in the promo on Collision to say that even though it was never put down on paper, I'm a man of my word. So he kind of went out of his way to mention it was not signed into an actual contract. I don't know if that means anything. They're going to come back around to that fact.
I'm assuming. Tony Khan has made it a thing where he's explicitly said Hangman and Cody both came to me and wanted this stipulation, and I was against both situations. We'll see.
Well, I mean, but like to your point, it would make sense for like Ospreay if, let's say, MJF says, "This is what I want. If I beat you, I get in the title match."
Yeah.
Will could turn around and be like, "Okay, but then you got to give me something," and then he mentions what you said about Hangman.
It's a possibility.
It's possible.
I agree with you. A one-on-one match it needs to happen wherever it takes place.
Yeah.
Redemption, post All In, it needs to happen.
No. Redemption, I think, is the place for it.
So you mentioned Omega and Jon Moxley in the main event. I like that. I think it makes sense and it fits the story, but I agree with you. I don't think Moxley should be losing here, and I don't really see Moxley losing on his way to holding this Continental Championship. After my stream on Dynamite, I put in a tweet because I just had a lot to say about this last week. Okada, I mentioned. I know you mentioned Okada as well. I think that makes perfect sense. It's a safe match to do. Kenny lost to Okada last year at All In. This would be his redemption over Okada. I think that's a safe match to do. But I think you and I are also on the same page because they made this decision, and if they made such a brash decision here to take the belt off MJF, that they had to have something at the pay-per-view that was worthy of being a main event at Redemption. And it would have to be on par or better than MJF and Kenny Omega wrestling for the AEW Championship. Well, we got news on that. And apparently, Kevin Knight is the TNT champion, and he's been heavily featured on AEW programming and has been asking for an AEW World title shot. Apparently, Fightful is saying that could be happening sooner rather than later. Sources in AEW spoke with Fightful and claimed that Kevin Knight was discussed for an upcoming world title match at Redemption for the World Championship against Kenny Omega, and that is not completely off the table. So it is being talked about. So if that's the main event for Redemption, Jason, I mean, to me, sure, it's going to be a fun match. I look at that personally as a main event for Dynamite. I don't necessarily look at that as a main event for a pay-per-view. You took the belt off MJF to give us Kenny Omega and Kevin Knight. Man, that would be an ultimate disappointment, don't you think?
It would also remind me of what they did after All In last year. If you remember it All Out, the main event was Hangman, who had just won the championship, against the TNT champion, who was Kyle Fletcher.
Yeah.
And so this reminds me very much of that, and that was a great match, but what was that really? Did that feel like a pay-per-view main event? It really didn't.
No.
And this wouldn't either. So, yeah, you're going to get a great match out of it, but I think there's better options for that show, for sure. I mean, like you said, that could be a big Dynamite main event they build up over a period of a couple of weeks, maybe on another theme show at some point in August. Do it there. As a main event for Redemption, again, it just goes against the name of the show. Like, you have a pay-per-view named Redemption. I 100% believe that originally the plan was to do Omega MJF on the show. When this show was named and conceived, that was probably the idea. And then, again, whether it was MJF, who got in Tony Khan's ear, or somebody else, they bumped it. Well, okay, now you have this show called Redemption. It has to make sense for one of these matches, right? I mean, you still have to have a match where the Redemption theme fits. How does that fit with Kenny Omega and Kevin Knight?
It doesn't.
No, doesn't make any sense.
Well, what you just said, if it came from MJF himself and he went to go ask Tony Khan to lobby for this match to happen away from the pay-per-view, well, we got news on that because Meltzer actually talked about that. And I believe Dave, where normally I don't believe what he says. He says that apparently the match was supposed to take place at Redemption. It got moved to Dynamite, and that came from MJF himself. He went to Tony Khan, and Tony Khan made the decision to move it based on what MJF wanted. Now, no reason was given. Tony Khan signed off on it, turning a planned pay-per-view main event into Beach Break's main event, which we saw on Wednesday. It was pushed, believed to be by MJF, to get it on television. I was not given a reason why, but it doesn't matter where the suggestion came from. That's a major change, and Tony Khan approved it. So he must feel he's got something pay-per-view worthy for Montreal on the 26th, which right now, if the rumor is correct with Kevin Knight, he does not. Now, why did MJF lobby to get this change, Jason? I said this with Coach today. I'm very curious to see if you agree with me. I may be out there with this, but I've said this to a couple of people today, and they said you may be spot on with this. MJF, the most valuable thing MJF has outside the World Championship is the fact that he's the biggest ratings draw in AEW. I feel with the Redemption IP, a new pay-per-view concept, AEW typically does a lower buy rate. It happened with Dynasty. It happened with World's End. It's going to happen with Redemption in a couple of weeks. There's not enough trust in the pay-per-view concept, even though AEW pay-per-views are usually banger shows. I feel MJF wanted this to take place on television because he knew exactly the number that he would draw with Kenny Omega in the main event for the World Championship, and he didn't want to do it on a low buy rate pay-per-view. That's a new concept for AEW. And he's going to hang that over everybody's head. We don't know when his contract situation is going to kind of be a talking point. We don't know when his contract is up. We don't know if he's going to use this as a negotiation tactic. But every time MJF was the world champion, their ratings have been up. You look at Swerve, you look at Joe, you look at Hangman, and it's going to happen with Ospreay too. They are not going to be on the same level ratings-wise as champions compared to MJF. So he knew he was going to pop a rating, and he's going to hold that over everybody's head. You can make whoever you want champion. They're not going to be a bigger draw than I am, which is why I think he went into business for himself, lobbied to get the match on Dynamite, and he said, all right, you want to play games? This is what I lobby. He got the match changed, and now they drew the biggest rating in 2 years. I doubt anybody else on the roster that is going to be a world champion is going to even come close to that number. That's the way I think.
Well, I mean, that's why before I brought up the ratings.
Yeah.
I mean, I said that Dynamite did its biggest number in 2 years. I think Dave even said with certain measurements, it might be 3 years. So that's why I mentioned that before. I don't know if MJF looked at that and said, hey, we could pop a big number for this, and so let's do it on TV instead. I think that's the best explanation that I could come up with is that it was ratings related. He knew or they knew it was going to do big numbers. As far as like, was the logic that Redemption is not going to do as well because it's a new pay-per-view? Maybe it won't do the biggest pay-per-view numbers of the year. I would find it hard to believe if it did worse than Forbidden Door, though. I would imagine Redemption is going to be a rebound number for them. Forbidden Door, I know, was down.
Yeah.
So I would expect Redemption to be up if it's, an all AEW show and they've got their stories that they're doing. I don't think you're too way off. That's why I brought up the ratings before. I think that had a lot to do with it.
Yeah. A lot of people brought up the ratings in a way, though not in that way, but they brought up the ratings as Tony Khan's trying to make good to Paramount to show them that they are still a major player.
No, the idea is that if what Dave is reporting is accurate, and again we don't know, but if it was an MJF idea, then that would be the reason why.
Yeah.
And he could be in the main event defending the championship and get credit for it because. I mean, look, we know, and I'm sure Tony Khan knows, his biggest draw is MJF. There's no other single person in AEW right now at the moment, not Kenny Omega, not anybody else, who is the kind of draw for him that MJF likely is. So this just reinforces that. He's on television in the main event defending the championship, and they do big numbers, right? A lot of it had to do with who he was in the ring with, because MJF also defended the title against Roosh, and I don't know that did, gangbuster numbers. You can't just put it all on MJF, right? You got to have a good dance partner, and he had a great dance partner for this match. But sure, I could see that being part of it, a little ego-driven there. We get to take credit for having the biggest, Dynamite number in a couple of years. Sure. Is that a good enough reason, though, for Tony Khan to acquiesce to that and say, okay, sure. We'll take our Redemption main event that's been long planned out here. We'll do it on television 3 weeks early. And then we'll just come up with something else to do for Kenny on the Redemption show. We'll do Kenny maybe against Kevin Knight at Redemption.
Yeah.
That's my thing. I can't get off that. Like, there's got to be something on that show where the idea of Redemption ties into it. Otherwise,
I don't think he thought that far out. Genuinely.
Well, he should have if he didn't. He should have. All the more reason, though, like you mentioned, it's new IP and everything. Precisely for that reason. You want this pay-per-view to do well. Yeah. If you have a Kenny Omega MJF main event for the championship, and this is Omega's last stand.
Oh, my God.
I can't think of a better drawing, attraction for this brand new pay-per-view that you're trying to get people to buy than doing MJF against Kenny Omega.
I would have pushed back. Canada, of all places.
In Montreal. My God. Dude, they did a match on pay-per-view with them in April in Vancouver, and Kenny lost. So here you had a chance to send him into Montreal, which is a great wrestling city. Kenny obviously is Canadian, so he's going to have a lot of fans in Montreal, and he can get his redemption there. And you deviated from that. And unless you have some great plan to replace it with, if I have a brand new pay-per-view and I'm a little worried that maybe it's not going to do so well, that's the match I want in the main event to get people to buy. Are people going to buy Kenny Omega against Kevin Knight?
No, they're not. No,
not in the same numbers. No, they're not.
No, they're going to be buying for MJF and Will Ospreay, if anything, if that's exactly where they end up going.
And I'm not saying that the ratings are not important and that there isn't this transition going on where they may be under new ownership soon, and Tony, should be worried about that. But they're a pay-per-view business. WWE is not. There aren't very many companies left, frankly, that are true pay-per-view, major companies that are true pay-per-view businesses. Tony, he relies on that. They make these pay-per-views and they make a lot of money off these pay-per-views. And so you should want to put these big matches, if you can, in the main events on these pay-per-views. And I just think that's something I would have pushed back on if it were me. Unless they have something great planned that we're not thinking of, I think that was a big mistake doing that.
Yeah, I think even after this discussion, it's even, I believe so, more a bigger mistake. Yeah. Just as far as what you guys are saying in the chat, Adam JD in the chat says MJF is playing chess and TK is going to have to pay some serious bank to lock him down. If he's making $15 million now, he's going to get paid next contract. That's all that it's about. He's going to get paid regardless, whether he stays or whether he goes to WWE. But when the time comes, and Tony Khan doesn't have nearly as big of a ratings draw, not named MJF, he's going to end up paying MJF what he wants to stay with the company. So, yes, he is playing chess, 100%. And the ratings are not that far off from last year. They're up maybe 10,000 overall in the average viewership, but the demo is down. They're down significantly in the demo, but the rating is up about 10 to 15,000 viewership wise over last year. So, they did great.
Arnold says change the pay-per-view name to Temptation.
Yeah, really.
Sure. May as well change the name. Hey, change it to whatever you want. Just don't call it Redemption, because the Redemption was already had on Wednesday.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens going into the next pay-per-view and how things play out here. Dynamite, all that I know is announced, unless they added something tonight going into tomorrow. Andrade versus Jake Doyle is the only thing that is announced for Wednesday's Dynamite.
Yeah, and they had a TNT title. Oh, not TNT. They had a national title match on Collision between Mark Davis and Speedball.
Yeah.
And I was like, you already kind of gave away the outcome there when you said that Andrade has to beat Jake Doyle to get a title shot against Mark Davis. And I saw that. I'm like, well, gee, I wonder who's winning this match. And then Davis, of course, beat Speedball.
Yeah, well, they didn't think that one through. So AEW, they got a lot of work ahead of them, just like WWE does. All In right now, right under 30,000. I said today with Coach, they are notorious late pay-per-view buyers for AEW. They usually they'll have a lot of walk-ups. They'll probably get 45, probably close to 50. I don't think they'll be more than that.
I think it's going to be that high.
I think they'll push 45. Yeah.
45, maybe. They're not doing 50.
You don't think so? I think I genuinely thought you'd be a little bit more positive than me when it comes to that.
They did 50. So they did in the 70 range for the first
77.
one. Then they dropped to, was it 50 or 53?
Somewhere, I think it was 53.
Okay, a little over 50.
Yeah.
It's gonna be down from that. They're not gonna repeat what they did last time. If I had to venture again, and I don't know what the latest number is. You said what? It's 30,000.
It's probably around 30. Yeah.
All right, let's say it's around 30,000. The card hasn't even really come together yet. We only really know the two title matches.
Yeah.
So as the card is announced and they add more, they'll sell more tickets. I think 40 is doable. Maybe in the 40-ish range is what I would guess.
And it's sad too, because what did you make of them putting All In tickets on sale? Ticketmaster UK 50% off, and that ended today. What'd you make of that news?
Well, what I made of that is they're behind where they were this time previously, and they're looking to sell tickets. They have a stadium to fill.
Well, I mean, if you trusted your product enough, you wouldn't have to put 50% off tickets. No.
Well, they trusted themselves, and they weren't selling enough tickets. So what do? You come up with ticket deals to try to lure people into the. I mean, look, it's the same thing as sending Pat McAfee on television to announce a fucking ticket deal. Hey, for night 2 of WrestleMania, as ridiculous as that whole thing.
Maybe MJF could turn that into a storyline. All In ain't selling, man. And do the same thing Pat McAfee did.
Maybe they could send. I don't know. Who could they send out there to hawk this ticket deal on Dynamite next week?
Who's his lawyer? Who's his little fucking representation that MJF has? What's his name?
Mark Sterling.
One of them guys. Yeah, the guy that spoke Spanish when he was feuding with Bandito. What was his name?
John Cruz.
Yeah. Send him out there.
Whatever happened to that guy? Yeah,
I don't know.
So, to me, he'll always be famous though for the Samoa Joe spot.
Yes, that is absolutely correct. WWE side of things here. We will get into SummerSlam. I want to start with SmackDown here. Cody Rhodes and CM Punk finally face to face. We had. Come out of Sami Zayn's 9-day title reign. There is news on CM Punk, though, before we get into the face-to-face. CM Punk, USA Network plans. This is according to WrestleVotes. According to sources at NBC Universal, the network has been long pushing for Punk to be on SmackDown for well over a year. They view him as one of WWE's premier stars. One source feels that Punk being on the show could help SmackDown pick up the momentum that has dipped in the last few months. An additional source within WWE career believes there are no indications that Punk's title reign will be short-term. So we are in for a summer of Punk and beyond for sure. As far as CM Punk's creative direction after the WWE title win last week on Raw, PW Insider Elite paid subscription says after Raw concluded, the expectation is that CM Punk will go on to defend the title against Cody Rhodes. That was on Monday. Which brings us to Friday. And we got the face-to-face, Jason. The way it came about, I was incredibly disappointed with something that I have expressed to you many, many, many times over here on this show and on our respective platforms. I know you felt the same way. Punk and Cody has been a match I have been long wanting to see in WWE, just based off the two personalities and where they both came from and where they currently sit in the current ecosystem of WWE. The way everything came about, Sami Zayn dropping the title after 9 days to Punk. I have my theories about why they did what they did. We get this face-to-face, man. It was the most laziest, most uncreative, most safest way possible to get this main event announced. And it really just kind of highlighted that. And I know I heard what you said too, and you said literally exactly what I said on my show on Monday. They put this together because they needed to put this match together for SummerSlam to sell tickets and make sure that this show had something that piqued people's interests. And they went about it in the most lamest way possible. Just say when. Match is made. And then that was it. We didn't get any war of words. We didn't get any tensions between each other.
Well, okay, I'm going to push back on this a little bit. I'm not saying that they didn't take the path of least resistance here in the most basic way, that they could. But you say war of words, right? First of all, Punk said it in his promo. Maybe subconsciously we've avoided each other because we're friends. And I'd like to keep it that way. There's been nothing done in any of the few interactions they've had up to this point in all the time that Punk has been back that has been heated in any way, right? They get along, they're friendly with each other. So why would it be heated all of a sudden? I wouldn't expect that first segment to be heated. I'm sure as we get closer to SummerSlam, we're going to have that one money promo in the ring face to face, and things are probably going to get heated. There might even be some subtle mentions of their past, from where they came from prior to this. And we'll get that when we get a little bit closer. But in this initial promo, why would it be heated?
Maybe not heated, but I wanted some back and forth between them. It was basically, you said a championship opportunity falls out of the sky. It fell into your lap. And he mentioned the black eye. And you said to me, just say when. And now I'm saying when. SummerSlam.
Which is a nod to the promo from after WrestleMania.
But that was it. I mean, I just expected more between two of the biggest stars in the company. And we got literally 6 minutes.
Yeah, I assume they're saving it. They're saving it, if not for this. Well, probably not this week, but they're saving it. Here's where I think they're going with this. We have a tag team match that's been set up for this weekend. And I think it's safe to say that coming out of that tag team match, win or lose, there's going to be some tensions between them, right? Something will happen on Saturday during the match or after the match, and they're probably not going to be so friendly with each other. And probably we're looking at the following week's SmackDown, if I had to guess, where things really get heated on the mic. I think they want to get to that point first where something happens to give them a reason to not like each other. And once that happens, then we get the war of words. Then we get the barbs back and forth between them. I don't blame them for not wanting to blow it in week one, even though it did make for a pretty boring segment. But I don't know that I would have done it much differently, to be honest with you, because it wouldn't have made sense for Cody to come out guns blazing in week one when he doesn't really have a reason to do so. I mean,
Sure,
they've kept them apart.
Yeah.
They've kept them apart this entire time, so they've had virtually no interactions with each other. And there was really that spark wasn't there because they've been kept apart. Now that they're going to be together, something will happen. They'll light the fuse, and then hopefully we'll get that segment that you're talking about. Because I'm expecting it coming out of Saturday night's main event. I would not have expected it this past week.
Yeah, I guess what bothers me personally is the fact that we got that segment on Friday, and that came after Rollins and Reigns had their promo literally a week before that. Hey, little brother, I think you should wrestle me at SummerSlam. Okay, big brother. It's like, all right, guys. It's like you're mirroring the fucking two championship matches being the same going into SummerSlam because, both guys have a history, Rollins and Reigns, and then Punk and Cody have a history, but it's not as volatile as Reigns and Rollins' history. It's like...
Well, Punk and Cody really don't have a history.
Well, they're friends. They don't have a history in the ring.
They're
sure.
friends.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so they're friends. So what? Who gives a shit? I'm talking about there's no history between them. I mean, you could argue, they come they came from AEW and they came to WWE.
Yeah, that's the
and
juicy stuff I want to hear about. You know, throw
well,
that
that's what
in
I
the
mean. Like,
fucking promo.
I think there'll be maybe little nods to it, but that'll come when the time is right in that promo. And that was not the right time on Friday. But that's the thing. There is no real history to draw from with these two because they've been kept apart. They've had one match together, I think, in their entire lives. And it was back in 2008 when the two of them were at a very different point in their careers. So I don't even think there's a reason to mention that. For all intents and purposes, this is the first time they're meeting. There's nothing there, right? You have to let it just kind of naturally develop. They don't have a lot of time to do that, but I actually don't think you need too much time to build this match up because if you have too much time, we saw what happens then going into WrestleMania.
Yeah.
When you have too much time, it could kind of swing the other way where it's like, oh man, now it's dragging. I can't wait to just get to the match. They got 3 weeks. You know what? I think that's about what they need. Well, I don't think they need much more than that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, they had 2.5 months to build Reigns and Punk going into WrestleMania, and they floundered after 3 weeks. So I agree with you there. Reportedly, ticket sales for SummerSlam are internally a concern for WWE, which is why they hastily announced this CM Punk and Cody Rhodes match. Now, the plan was for Punk, as of a month before he beat Sami Zayn, for Punk to take the belt off Sami Zayn. So at some point, they figured Sami Zayn was going to take the belt off Cody Rhodes, and CM Punk was going to take the belt off Sami, and we were going to get Punk and Cody at SummerSlam. This match, I can't reiterate this again enough. It was supposed to be Rollins and Reigns and Punk and Cody at WrestleMania. What you're getting right now is Triple H's plans that were supposed to be in April. Now we're getting it in August. As far as Punk and Cody, this was supposed to happen next year at WrestleMania. They fast-tracked this all the way to SummerSlam instead of doing it at Mania. So the reason why they did that, Jason, is because of this report where WrestleVotes has stated on Fightful Select that the ticket sales for SummerSlam have been a topic of conversation within the WWE the past few weeks. The hot topic in Stanford is ticket sales for SummerSlam. This isn't a realization that came out all of a sudden. It's been a concern where they are internally for weeks now. Now, WrestleTix put out something on Thursday. They have yet to update their Twitter account. On Thursday, they were roughly around 22,000 for night one and 23,000 for night two. Now, with this match being announced, I'm assuming they'll be somewhere in the vicinity of maybe 28, 29,000, closer to 30,000 for at least night two. Reigns and Rollins ain't selling anything on night one. I mean, I'm just bored to tears with it already. But as far as the ticket sales, Jason, would you agree that they have fast-tracked Punk and Cody because of the lack of ticket sales right now for SummerSlam? Is that the primary reason why that we're getting this match now and not at WrestleMania next year in Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, look at where they are now as compared to a year ago. I mean, that's quite the drop-off.
Yeah.
They got to sell tickets. You got to go with the biggest attraction that you can do. So we have Brock and Oba and Hell in a Cell. We already know Roman and Seth is set. What else can we do? They weren't going to do Cody Rhodes against Sami Zayn. You go with CM Punk, who is one of your biggest guys. You go with Cody, who is your QB1, as he likes to call himself. It's a fresh match they haven't done yet. We go to it now. We have a stadium show to sell. We need tickets to sell. Let's do that match. That's our main event. It's very simple. And I don't even fault them for it because that's what promoters do. The goal is you want to sell tickets. I get it. So nobody should be surprised by this. You have a promoter who wants to promote the biggest possible match they can because they have tickets to sell. It makes sense. I get why they would want to do it, but are they getting, I guess, maybe the bigger message? Is there a message in here that they can learn as far as why the tickets are lagging where they were last year, and are they going to learn that lesson?
Well, there's a couple of variables. To you, what is the biggest reason why they're not selling tickets? To me, obviously, we all know, for example, that the ticket price is just way too expensive still, and the economy is shit. But I mean, people should not be ignoring how bad and how boring the television show is, and people might find SummerSlam not worthy of spending that type of money on.
It's those two things. I mean, you pretty much just said what it is right there. It's a combination, I think, of creative fatigue and high ticket prices. Those two things don't go well together. If you have matches and stories that are really resonating with people, they may be willing to spend the money and show up and reward you in that way. But if they're not overly excited by what you're spoon feeding them, and on top of that, the ticket prices are still very elevated, that's a bad combination. So they're still doing great business, but they're off that peak, right? They already peaked. The only question is like, okay, where are they going to level off? I still don't know if we know that answer yet. But it's kind of startling. Again, they have a stadium to fill, and they ended up with over 50,000 people, 60,000 on night 2, if you believe that number.
114,000 combined last year at MetLife Stadium.
And they had the attraction of John Cena in his final, what ended up being his final title defense. And they don't have that this year. But that being said, that's a huge drop-off from where they were last year. Now, when the time comes, SummerSlam weekend has arrived, and we're finally on game day, I'm sure the number will be back, up there pretty high, but they're not going to be in the range they were in last year. I just don't see how they catch up to what they did last year from where they are. And they're literally half or more than halfway down from where they were a year ago.
What do you think? 35,000 for both nights by the time game day comes?
No. No. I mean, if they're hovering between 25 and 30 now, I think upper 30 range. They may claim 40 something,
course,
but yeah. I think realistically probably upper 30s they could get there. I am curious how many tickets are sold following the Cody and Punk announcement. I want to see how many tickets that move. To me, that has to move a good amount of tickets.
Yeah, especially for night 2. Yeah, absolutely.
And also, like, are they gonna put in any? We were talking about Wembley before, and even WrestleMania. Are they gonna have ticket deals? I think they had a 25% off.
Yes, they had a 25% off for celebrating America 250.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's still ongoing or if they're going to have more deals as we get closer, and that should sell more tickets that way too.
I have a question here because I said this on Friday during my SmackDown review. Do you feel if WWE was in the vicinity of at least coming close to where they were last year ticket-wise, I'm saying like 45, nearing 50,000 for both nights, and they were selling well, and Sami Zayn won the WWE Championship, and he's the WWE champion. Do you feel if they were at where they are last year for ticket sales, Sami Zayn walks into SummerSlam as the WWE champion? And we're not forcing a CM Punk and Cody Rhodes match at SummerSlam. I think there's a good chance that Sami Zayn walks into SummerSlam as the champion, and we don't hastily take the belt off him.
I'm kind of 50-50 on it. I am. I'm kind of 50-50 on it.
Does he even win the championship at all? I don't know. There's
absolutely a better chance that he walks in as the champion, but they may have some other story for him where they feel like he had to lose the belt quickly and he's going to have this meltdown, and maybe it's part of some, or they want to parlay it into some sort of new direction for his character. So I don't know if things would have been all that different. Maybe they would have gone with some other big match and not Cody and Punk. I don't know. I still feel like the overarching reason has to do with the sluggish ticket sales. But I still can't sit here and say, oh yeah, for sure, if they were still, if they had 50,000 tickets sold, Sammy would be in the main event. I'm still not convinced that he would be in the main event. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I'm kind of in the middle on that.
Poor Sammy. He's on a mental health break now, according to Nick Aldis. So something that he supposedly requested.
We got another bomb too.
We did. Look at this. Angel Alaga with a $100 super chat. I love the energy tonight, guys. Thank you very much. Angel says, here's a super bomb for the best duo in the business. Also, TKO is getting what they deserve with low ticket sales. Yes. Speak to them in the language that they know only. Money. When you don't spend money, then they cry. And
I mean, they'll just find other ways to make money. I mean, look, did you see this new crown jewel replica belt that they put on sale, I think last week?
Yes, I did.
First of all, this belt is gigantic, number one. $2,000. And last I heard, they were, if not sold out, they were almost sold out of their allotment.
I am not surprised. There are a bunch. Collecting belts is a big deal. And WWE was late in the game and getting in on that fad, and here they are.
And you can go on WWE Shop right now and buy the new furry U.S. belts for a cool $700.
Man, I know what I'm getting you for your birthday this year.
You better not.
That'll look
I'll
great
take
on the wall next to the WWE Winged Eagle title.
Oh, yeah. We'll have Gandalf on the wall behind me here over my shoulder. I'll take the crown jewel belt, though, if you want to spring for that one.
$2,000? What do you think? I made of money over here. Couple more Angel Lager bombs, maybe. But thank you, Angel. I appreciate you and Ali. Thank you for the support tonight here on TNT. So that's the SummerSlam situation right now. A big, heavy topic. All In, AEW is struggling as well with tickets to Wembley. And I said this, Jason, I'm curious to see what you think about this aspect of it all. I know a lot of people are looking at the WWE a little bit more harshly because they rant and rave about how many tickets they sell and live gates and all this other stuff. So when they're down, people are ready and just fucking ready to go to pick them apart. But AEW, if they get anywhere between, I would say, 45,000 for All In, it's down, but for them, it's a good number because you can't look at that as a bad number. For a pro wrestling show, it's still a very good number. If WWE does 35,000 for both nights at SummerSlam after doing a combined 115,000 last year, I mean, it's more of a terrible look for WWE than it is for AEW, no?
I mean, that would be, so far below what they did last year that it would be unavoidable.
Yeah.
You have to just kind of look at that and go, why did this happen?
Yeah.
I mean, under any other circumstances, if WWE sold 30,000 tickets to a show, that's a great number. But everything is relative. And so you're in a stadium, I think, that has a capacity of probably double that. And you compare it to last year, and yeah, I mean, it's unavoidable. People are going to make those comparisons. When you run as many stadium shows as they do, people are going to compare. How did this one do compared to that one? How did that one do compared to this one? It's just natural. And yeah, right now it doesn't look good, but we still have a few weeks left to go. We'll see what I'm very curious what those final tallies are going to look like. The numbers are going to go up. The only question is, how much higher are they going to go up when you only have a few weeks left to go?
Yeah. 3 weeks to go? Less than that
not a
for
long
SummerSlam,
time.
yeah.
Less than that, yeah. Not a long time.
The ladies on SmackDown, Alexa Bliss and Jade Cargill. This is obviously leading to Jade and Charlotte at SummerSlam, but that's not what we're going to be talking about because the match itself didn't do anything for me personally. Rhea Ripley, who, believe it or not, if you guys have forgotten, I don't blame you, is still the WWE Women's Champion. And she's on Friday Night SmackDown. She hasn't been seen since Clash in Italy, where this supposed injury happened in a match with Jade Cargill. Now, apparently, Jason, she detailed some of the knee injury that is keeping her out, and she was at a Power Slap event watching Jake Hager get absolutely destroyed.
By, of all people, I love it. You forgot the best part of this whole thing. By the former TNA star, Mahabali Shera.
Yes, I remember Shera, yes.
Amanpreet Singh, yeah. And he looks like a beast, by the way. He's all freaking, this guy's a
he
monster.
looked like a beast then, too, so.
He did, and but she seemed a lot nicer back then. I remember he used to have this dance he would do, and so there was no dancing on Friday. But here's the best part of the entire thing. Now, if you remember when Hager made his Power Slap debut in April, WrestleMania weekend, he won. He was successful in his debut, and then he was interviewed. I don't know if it was an interview or he just looked into the camera. I think he was interviewed. And he goes, "Fuck Tony Khan." Right? And I'm like, what the fuck? Where did that come from? Like, why is Tony Khan on his brain? And so before the match on Friday, he did it again, and he said, "Fuck Tony Khan." Oh. And then he went in there, and he got the shit just absolutely smacked right out of him. Didn't know where he was. And I'm just like, you can't make this up.
I didn't know he said that. That's just karma coming right back around.
He said it again. I don't even know if he would know who Tony Khan is now. He got slapped so hard.
I wonder what Tony Khan's reaction would be. I would pay good money to see what he thought of that when it happened.
I think I know what Tony's reaction was when he found out what happened and saw the clip.
Anyway, Jake Hager went down. Rhea Ripley and husband Buddy Matthews were there. Miss Buddy, he's fantastic. But she was asked about her knee. She says, "I hurt my knee. I got a slight tear in my meniscus, so it's healing. It's getting there. It's getting stronger. I just can't bend it very well. I kind of need to bend it, guys." So obviously it's a torn meniscus now from what she's saying here, and there's no timetable for her return. Jason, we are looking at, and I said this on my Raw review last night, Io and Roxanne had a very good television match. I thought the crowd was hot. Dallas was on fire. Both ladies performed incredibly well last night. It was really indicative of where the women's division could be if you let women like that go out there and work. Liv won the championship at WrestleMania from Stephanie Vaquer, has not defended the title once. She's wrestled in the Queen of the Ring. Her next title defense will be in 3 weeks at SummerSlam. Rhea Ripley, she won the championship and got injured, and now it's well past 30 days that she's been out, and there's no sign of WWE asking her to relinquish or vacate the championship.
Yeah, before you go on,
Yeah.
First of all, that hasn't been a thing in years, but I am in favor of reinstating
Yes.
the 30-day rule for these, because this is just ridiculous at this point.
Yeah, it's crazy
Yeah.
how the women last night competed at such a high level, and we have two women's championships that are basically incapacitated for completely different reasons. What do you make of this? Do we take the belt off Rhea and put it on the line in a Jade Charlotte match at SummerSlam?
That's what I would do. I mean, that's what I advocated for the other day. And I mean, there's going to be people say, oh God, Jade, challenging for the championship again. But if you're going to do that match at SummerSlam and you're in a situation where you're not sure if Rhea's going to be ready. And I mean, the way she was talking in that interview, like if she's having pain crouching and bending and stuff, like I know there are wrestlers that will work through meniscus tears. A lot of it depends on how serious the tear is. I think she made it sound like it wasn't a full tear, but if she's still having issues, and the SummerSlam card is coming up pretty quick, then just get the belt off of her.
Yeah.
And put it up for grabs in that match. We can crown a new champion. Let Rhea take all the time she needs to heal, because she is someone that they need healthy on that show, right? You don't fuck around when it comes to injuries or anything. Let her heal up. And when she comes back, you can figure out what your next move is going to be. If you want to put it right back on her, you can put it right back on her. Or you can have her chase for it for a while. But I think if things are still up in the air, like, my God, like the women's world title situations on both brands right now it's dire.
It's the worst it's been in years.
It's unbelievable. And Liv, I'm not even putting the blame on Liv. Liv is not booking the shows. But the fact that they didn't have a plan B for her just because Stephanie was unavailable for whatever reason is inexcusable. Now, I know they don't have a lot of great options on Raw right now. The pendulum has really kind of swung to SmackDown in terms of like which division is in better shape. You got Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez, who were allied with Liv, so she's not going to be wrestling them. Stephanie is still gone. Io is getting the next shot, but not until SummerSlam. Maxine Dupree is no longer a wrestler. She's now the new leader of the Vision, apparently. And so what does that really leave you with? Becky Lynch is not around. She's not going to be on the SummerSlam card, it doesn't look like. Sol Rook is the Intercontinental Champion. Lyra and Bayley have their own thing going on. It's like there's nobody else. There's nobody else, but there should be somebody else for her to at least defend against. Defend here and there, do something. There was no backup plan for her. She's become a manager ever since WrestleMania. And so, unfortunately, Rhea got hurt at the worst possible time. And I'm just looking at this situation with these two brands and these two belts, and I'm like, this is as bad as I can remember it ever being.
I said last night on my Raw review, why do you think they have not made a decision? Do you think that this minute, because I think Swerve wrestled with a slightly torn meniscus and then he opted to go away for like 2 months and then came back.
Yes.
I don't know if it's that bad. I don't know if it's something that could heal on its own without surgery. I'm not a medical professional, but I said, do you think WWE is holding out hope for Crown Jewel this year because they want to do Rhea and Io at Crown Jewel? Do you think that's their way of thinking? We'll keep the title on Rhea. Hopefully it gets better because we don't want to miss out on this match. Do you think that's what they're thinking?
No, I don't think that's factoring into what they're going through right now. I mean, I would want to see that match, and that may be the match they want to do. But so what? Like, if you take the belt, look, it's not ideal to flip-flop the belt back and forth in a short period of time, kind of like they just did with the WWE title. But if they really want to do that Crown Jewel match and Io ends up as the women's world champion, if they strip Rhea right now, you can always put it back on her at WrestlePalooza.
Yeah.
Like, there are ways to get the belt back on her in time for that Crown Jewel show. I don't think that's sort of the dominant reason that they're waiting. I think they're just hoping that she'll be able to come back because it's not, as serious a tear as it could be, where maybe she would need surgery, and they're holding out hope. But maybe there's a deadline. Maybe there's a self-appointed deadline. Maybe the deadline is this week. And if she tries to get cleared and she's not ready, then they'll make a decision. But I would just take the title from her so we can get a championship match at SummerSlam. You can crown a new champion there. And then when Rhea's ready, you bring Rhea back. Because at this point, I mean, this is ridiculous. This is crazy to me.
And if Rhea, I was going to say, if Rhea is still off the show with the championship, WWE also has not done anything to enhance Tiffany Stratton and the United States title because she's also a non-factor too. So it's like, what are they doing with both championships? They don't even have that to fall back on.
Yeah, I wondered about that because Tiffany's been doing some publicity for SummerSlam because she's from Minnesota.
Yeah.
So right now, I don't know. I mean, would they do her and Blake Monroe? Like, I don't know. They haven't really established anything for Blake Monroe yet outside of her beating up Julia. She hasn't really done anything else. So Tiffany Stratton may end up with no match on that show. It's funny, she did an interview, and I talked about this on the sound off because I've been saying this for the longest time that I think she's completely miscast as a babyface.
Yes.
And she should be a heel again. And so in this interview, I think she was asked, which do you prefer? And she said, I much prefer being a heel. She said, I'm a more natural heel. And I said, thank you. So she knows it. And I still feel that way. I still feel like she should be a heel. I mean, she was a heel for a long time, and then she got the babyface run, and that's great. But I think she's long past time to go back to being a heel. So I hope, wherever her next direction takes her, hopefully it's over to the heel side. But I don't know. Do you think she even gets a match at SummerSlam?
No.
It's not looking good right now.
No, I mean, who do you put
sucks
on the
for her
ring
because she's doing all this publicity for a show in her home state, and maybe her family will be there and everything. They're sending her around to do these interviews like, Tiffany's from Minnesota, and she may not even be on the fucking show.
Supreme Mario in the chat says Blake hasn't even wrestled yet on SmackDown. They basically are Aleister Blacking Blake Monroe, except she's not in a broom closet saying "fight me" every week. She's beating up random women in the back.
She beat up Kiana.
She beat up Julia. Who's Chelsea Green, right? Who else?
She didn't beat up Chelsea though.
No, she beat up somebody else. I don't remember who it was.
Did she beat up somebody else?
Yes, it was three women. Who she beat up, chat? Got to be.
I don't know.
Yeah, I thought they did it back-to-back weeks.
Well, no, she attacked Julia after her win over Kiana.
And they haven't featured them on the show at all in any meaningful way.
And then she beat up Julia again in the back, ran her into the production
Street
case.
Fighter said she did beat up Chelsea Green. Okay, there you go.
Okay.
Where is Jordan Grace? Don't ask me these questions, Chad. I can't answer that one for you.
Apparently, I think Jordan Grace is going to fly everyone to Minneapolis for SummerSlam. She's trying to get her pilot's license. So she's been dealing with that. Yeah, I don't have a good answer for you. I know Jordan has done some matches on Main Event. Why we don't see her on TV? Boy, I think of Joe Hendry and Jordan Grace, these two champions from TNA that WWE was so adamant about signing and bringing over to their side, and look at what they have them doing right now.
I know. Chat wants to let Jason know that she did attack Chelsea, but it was an exclusive on .com. It wasn't even on the show.
Okay. See, so you can't blame me. All right. You can't blame me.
Imagine having Blake Monroe on your main roster, man, and you haven't had her wrestle yet in the ring. Couldn't be me.
That's like the Danhausen stuff. All this stuff is built around this money that the Judgment Day says he owes them. But I'm pretty sure, like when they had, I guess McDonough originally pay $100,000 to him to do whatever. I think that was also like a social media exclusive.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that didn't air on TV. This entire angle is based around money that is owed to the Judgment Day. And I don't even think the initial segment aired on the actual television show.
I think you are correct. Speaking of money, Jason talked about the Furby title that Trick Williams was gifted by Lil Yachty. $699 on .com if you want this replica U.S. title, Trick Williams special. He wrestled Carmelo Hayes in a very good TV match. I was hoping to see this be the one-on-one match for the United States Championship at SummerSlam, but Baron Corbin is back with the company. Egg on the face of everybody that thought he was going to come back under the white sheet in Danhausen's laboratory, because that's what was reported. Thankfully, that is not the case. I think this is a great spot for him to return. SmackDown's U.S. title picture, the mid-card situation on SmackDown. You got Carmelo, you got Trick, you got Finn Balor, you got Baron Corbin now. Dragunov is hopefully going to be back sooner rather than later. There's a lot of talented guys there. He fits right in there very well, Jason. I'm glad to see him back in this role and not with Danhausen. Shocked to see him just show up out of nowhere. He even got a holy shit chant, which was, a little odd, but good for him. I'm happy he's back. You know, he had a tough time in WWE after going to NXT and then getting called up, and then he was no longer with the company. He had to go to the Indies and kind of rebrand himself as the Nomad, Bishop Dyer. He's back with WWE after doing a year and a half on the Indies. I'm happy for him. I hope that this goes a little bit differently for him, but it's not Baron Corbin I don't trust. It's WWE Creative I don't trust. I don't really give them the benefit of the doubt here.
Well, then, here's my question. He's too big, though, to be under the sheet.
It could be anybody, man. It doesn't have to be actual size here.
Do you think we even get a payoff to who's under the sheet?
They've made less of who's under the sheet than in previous weeks, yes. I think there's a chance we don't get a payoff.
Okay.
It could be Enzo. Who knows? Enzo could be under the sheet.
So they bring them back separately, and Enzo, for some reason, it just so happens that Big Cass comes back, but at the same time, Enzo's under the sheet.
That's very odd. Why show vignettes when it's only Big Cass and not Enzo? Like, why wouldn't you show vignettes of them together?
I wouldn't read too much into that. My guess would be we'll get one for Enzo next week.
Maybe you're right. But yeah, Baron Corbin's back. What'd you make his return on SmackDown?
Shocked the hell out of me. I wasn't expecting to see him in this match. So that was a genuine, shocked moment. And I'm glad for his sake to see him in that situation rather than just in a comedy segment. And it sure felt to me like, because he laid both of them out with the end of days. So it felt to me like we may be looking at a three-way scenario, I guess, for SummerSlam, which I'm okay with. And you know what? If they do that, I think he walks out with the belt.
Good. That's fine. We need a solid mid-card heel on SmackDown. I think that's good.
Yeah, I think he walks out with the belt, and I'm okay with that. Especially if he takes that belt and takes a fucking razor blade to it and shaves it off.
Any thought to maybe bringing in Baron Corbin and then bringing also back Dijak? We get Carmelo and Trick teaming up against Dijak and Baron Corbin here, or no? Thinking a little bit too much there.
Do I think that's going to happen?
Is it a possibility?
I've heard nothing about Dijak having interest from WWE.
I don't know. They were the skyscrapers in MLW?
Yeah, if it were up to me, if I were placed in charge or in a position where I could help strengthen the tag team division, I could tell you exactly what I would do. First of all, you'd only have one set of tag team belts. That's number one. But the skyscrapers, yeah, that's what they call themselves. I'd bring them in as a tag team.
Yeah.
Enzo and Cass, I don't see any issue having them as a team. If there are people for them to work with, then that's fine. You can have them initially come in as a team and really start to put some effort into the tag team scene in this company. But I don't really think that they're serious about doing anything with the tag team division. So I don't think Dijak is coming in. I think Corbin is, no pun intended, a lone wolf here. And I'm happy for him. Hopefully, again, solid mid-card addition, I think, to that SmackDown roster, like you said. But a tag team situation, I'm not seeing that happening.
Gunther, he was on Friday Night SmackDown, and he got into a face-to-face with Nick Aldis after an ultimatum was given to Nick Aldis. Gunther wanted to be added to Cody and CM Punk at SummerSlam. Nick Aldis said he would take that under advisement. So we get to the end of the show. Nick Aldis said, you want Punk and Cody? That's fine. Saturday Night's Main Events, you're going to get Punk and Cody as you team with Sami Zayn in a tag team match against CM Punk and Cody Rhodes. Gunther was not happy about that. And after Nick Aldis was about to leave, we got a brutal assault here by Gunther on Nick Aldis. Sleeper hold after sleeper hold after sleeper hold as road agents and security tried to pry this man off of Nick Aldis several times.
Unsuccessfully.
Unsuccessfully. Only for him to go back and just do it all over again. And that's the way the show went off the air. We went off the air with actually Cody Rhodes coming down the aisle and getting cut midway before he got to the ring.
Yeah. Joe Tessitore in mid-sentence was cut off in the middle of all of this.
Yeah. It was like
someone forgot that the show is 2 hours now and not 3.
Yes, I'm assuming that's what happened. But I know we've made mention of Gunther's kind of, I don't want to say fall, but his lack of creative, Jason, coming out of the retirement of John Cena at Saturday Night's Main Event. Brian Alvarez made a big deal about this, and it's tough to disagree. with him this week. He said, the man who retired John Cena and Goldberg, and he was supposed to retire Rey Mysterio supposedly at WrestleMania, and the Brock Lesnar rumor about him wrestling Lesnar at SummerSlam. He basically goes from Cena and the World Championship and all this big hype around what he's going to do next, becoming the career killer, to wrestling the general manager of SmackDown, and then on top of that, losing to Cody Rhodes several times over on Friday Night SmackDown. So I know people are not really all that intrigued with Gunther as a character right now, but I would be lying to you if I told you that I'm not interested in this Nick Aldis match. There's something about this match I'm incredibly intrigued by, and I think mostly it comes from Nick Aldis because I want to see Nick Aldis wrestle, and I think this match could be a very good showcase match for SummerSlam. What'd you make of this segment?
I mean, it pretty much set things up the way that I figured it would. I think the writing was on the wall for a few weeks that this is the direction that we were going in, and I think it's as an undercard attraction at SummerSlam, it's fine. But yeah, you can call it the fall. That's fine. He has fallen from where he was. There's quite a few people who have fallen in this company from where they were at the beginning of the year. Braun Breaker.
We will talk about him in a second. Yes.
I mean, there's a couple of other names. So, yeah, I mean, from where he was to where he is now has been, it's been quite the journey. But I mean, look, it's an attraction on the show. Like you said, he doesn't really fit into the world title picture at the moment. So do you have him just in a regular undercard match against some, rando from the SmackDown roster? Or do you put him in there in a match where there's something about it that makes it stand out from everything else on the card? I mean, I guess in a way, not unlike the match he had with Pat McAfee at Backlash. Was it last year?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm okay with it. That's fine. And Aldis, I'm sure, has been dying to work a match ever since they brought him into the company. I'm surprised it took this long. I actually thought it was going to be against Drew McIntyre. And so it ends up being against Gunther instead. Great opponent for him, right? Yeah. Great person for him to be in the ring with. And so it's fine. It's fine. But then, coming out of SummerSlam, trying to figure, where Gunther fits into the puzzle on that show, it's a little murky for me. It's almost like I think it's time to push the reset button, get rid of this career killer shit, and just figure out, okay, where do you want to slot him on this show? Where do you want him to be on the card? Let's come up with a game plan for Gunther so it doesn't just feel like he's sort of wandering around aimlessly. And I'll throw the name Dragunov out there. I'm still advocating for a match between those two.
That's the natural progression after SummerSlam.
We're on the same brand. You got to make it happen at some point. So hopefully we'll get to see that soon.
And it's easy for them to get into the ring. It's all about them developing a story about why they are fighting. So hopefully they can do that. Yeah. I don't really have anything else to add as far as Nick. Like you mentioned, it was supposed to be Drew McIntyre in this spot. This was supposed to be McIntyre and Nick Aldis, but McIntyre said, you know what, fuck wrestling right now. I'm just going to go to Hollywood and make movies. So in comes Gunther. He's the resident plumber. He fixes all the leaky pipes in WWE wherever they need him. So that's exactly what they did there. That was SmackDown. On the Raw side of things, Oba Femi and Brock Lesnar had a situation last night where Paul Heyman, and I guess my brain was somewhere else. I didn't really think that they were all a ploy. The police officers, Paul Heyman had Dallas PD out there. Supposedly they were all fake police officers, which we knew anyway. But Oba Femi went on to say that he was playing mind games and they were fake police officers. They weren't even real police officers. Because I said last night, Jason, if Oba Femi is throwing police officers over the top rope and clotheslining police officers in the ring, this segment should have ended with Oba Femi being carted away in handcuffs, which did not happen.
Oh, I mean, let's be honest here. If this was real life, it would have ended a lot worse for Oba Femi the minute he put his hands on those police officers. Yes. So, yeah, I mean, look, I thought it made him look like a
geek,
like a monster. No. I thought that made him look like a monster, the way he was throwing those guys around. That first police officer that he threw out of the ring, there was nobody there outside to catch him. He just threw him out over the top rope, and he crashed and burned on the floor. And then he double choke slammed two guys. That part was great. I mean, again, as unrealistic as it may have seemed, that part was great. My issue with this, and I'll get the good stuff out of the way first. Oba, I love the intensity. I love the fire. Promo-wise, I think he's knocked it out of the park every time he's had the mic in his hand so far. So I have no issues with anything that he had to say in that, or the way he said it, I thought was great. My issue with this segment was the explanation. And first of all, I don't know why we got it now when we should have gotten it a couple of weeks ago. That's number one. But he finally gave us the explanation. And by the way, I think they answered the question that I had. I think I brought this up. I had mentioned that on the one of their Raw post-show podcasts with Sam Roberts and Megan Morant a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Actually, it was the night that Oba sacrificed his title shot and they made Hell in a Cell official. And I said, the way that they were talking about it on their podcast, they were using language that seemed to indicate that he had sacrificed his shot. Not that he delayed it, but it was gone. Because I know some people were like, oh, it's not a big deal. He's going to come back to it after SummerSlam. He can cash in, quote unquote, whenever he wants. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not so sure about that. Well, we basically got confirmation last night because even Paul Heyman, I think, was using the word like threw away your title shot.
Like a piece of garbage.
Yeah, like he's taking the fucking trash out. And then Oba used similar language. And then he goes, you and I both know that if I would have, gone for my championship opportunity, your client would have cost me. And so that's why, he basically sacrificed it. And I'm like, I think that's the worst possible thing that you could have had him go out there and say. And I saw some comments online from people. Dude, if you go under in the comments section in the video that they posted the clip on WWE's YouTube channel. I'm convinced that these are bot accounts. Like some of these comments are like, oh, it's so refreshing to have somebody go out there and tell the truth. And down the line, and I'm like, what am I reading here? Do you realize what they had this man do last night? This destroyer, he calls himself the ruler. He's the king of the ring. And he went out on television last night and he admitted, I sacrificed my guaranteed championship match for SummerSlam in the off chance that this guy was going to interfere in my match. It's almost like, I'll show him. I'm like, they could not have made him look like just a bigger dweeb than they did when he uttered those words last night. And I also said, well, maybe if he didn't go out on television after Clash in Italy week after week and insult this man and call him a coward and call him a bitch and question his manhood, maybe you wouldn't have had to worry that he might show up and get involved in your shit. You have nobody to blame for that but yourself if he did show up and cost you a match.
You're looking at it all wrong, man. You're not having fun, okay? You're not having fun with the product.
Oh, I'm not, there's no smile on my face. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you're not having fun, man. I don't get a lot of fun from you right now.
Should I fuck off being a critic, JD?
Yes,
is that what I should be doing?
That's what Triple H is thinking right now, yes.
Well, that's not going to happen.
Who writes this shit?
I don't know.
Do they think about what they put on paper before they hand it off to Triple H? Seriously.
He had a guaranteed championship match that he fought for in a tournament over the course of a month. And yes, you and I both know this man is going to get plenty of title matches in his future. We all know that. Right, but that's not the point. That's not really what we're talking about here. He was in a tournament. He won specifically for SummerSlam. Guaranteed shot at a world championship. And he threw it away because he was worried that Brock Lesnar might interfere in his match. Yeah. So I'm just going to get rid of the shot altogether. Instead of taking the chance that he may or may not interfere, I'm just going to sacrifice the whole fucking thing and not even get my shot. Oh. And we'll just wrestle each other at SummerSlam.
They'll really be up for that Academy Award this year, huh?
They would have been better off not having him even address it and not even say anything.
You know what they'll do? They'll put the fucking title match on the line or a title shot on the line in the John Cena Classic come December. Fuck the King of the Ring. Did Jason freeze? Oh no, Jason froze. What happened? Is he here? What happened? His camera froze, chat. He didn't even get caught. He didn't even get cut off now. It was the camera. His camera froze, which I guess theoretically will do one thing. It'll reset his StreamYard link now. So when he comes back in here, Jason logged. maybe Jason logged off because of my comment. Maybe he was. Maybe he didn't agree with my comment. I don't know where he went. We're still live. Maybe Paul Heyman cut him. There he is. He's going to come back. I just seen it. He just disappeared. He'll be back. Right now we're talking about Brock Lesnar and Oba Femi, and Brock Lesnar coming out with Paul Heyman as Oba Femi is describing why he gave up the championship opportunity when he won the King of the Ring. Maybe Jason's computer shut down. Maybe he forgot to plug it in. And maybe it drained all of its power. I don't know. As we wait for him to come in here. What Oba said here, what are these games? What are you playing at? Running, BSing, low blows, attacking from behind? This is not even you anymore. Who is this? Where is the beast? You used to run this place. Now all you do is run away. And as for you, Paul, you have the audacity to tell everybody how that I stupidly threw away a title opportunity. Meanwhile, we both know that if I went for it, he would have cost me anyways. So here's the deal. He goes on to mention SummerSlam, Hell in a Cell. No more running away, no more low blows, no more bullshit, no more games. You can't run from the ruler. You can't run from the destroyer. You can't run from Oba Femi. So yes, the explanation was lame, and the King of the Ring has been severely wasted, at least on the men's side, which I don't like as a fan. Some people are going to look at it as, well, that's not a big deal, but why did you have him win the King of the Ring anyway? Why didn't you just go and have Oba Femi go into the tournament and have Brock Lesnar cost him the tournament? We would have gotten to the same place we are at right now. Give Rollins the King of the Ring. It would have made sense for him to win the King of the Ring, challenge Roman Reigns, instead of showing up literally the next night after losing in the King of the Ring to challenge Roman Reigns and get a title match granted by Roman Reigns for the main event. It's just all ass backwards. Where Oba Femi earned the shot, he gave it up. And Rollins lost the King of the Ring match that he had, only to get a championship match anyway at SummerSlam. So I don't know. I don't know exactly what they did, but it was convoluted to say the least. As we are still waiting for Jason here, something must have happened, being that he's not back yet, but bear with us. This is not a normal occurrence here. Normally, he gets timed out, and he comes back within 10 to 15 seconds. Right now, it's going on a couple of minutes at least here. So we'll wait for him to come back. Where else was Monday Night Raw important? We had the Vision and the Alpha Academy segment. We'll talk about that when Jason comes back. I'm very curious to see what he has to say about this. I enjoyed the segment, but it's all about Braun Breaker, and I think we can both really kind of agree that Braun Breaker right now is not in a position that is going to get him where he needs to be as the badass, the unpredictable badass that he is. After Paul Heyman has repeatedly stated he's going to be a WrestleMania main event guy for years and years and years to come, this is not looking like that, at least not yet anyway. So we'll talk about the Vision. Chad Gable. We're going to talk about Chad Gable when he comes back. Chad Gable won a gauntlet match. He is now the #1 contender for the Intercontinental Championship. He will meet Penta one-on-one at SummerSlam. And I honestly think that is the way to go. I think it's a full circle moment. And Chad Gable, this is the easiest creative that Triple H has right now for himself going into SummerSlam. It's a slam dunk, no doubt about it. Literally the easiest creative that has fallen into his lap. You don't even have to think about it. You just give them a bell and a ring, and you let them go out there and do what they got to do. Give them 20 minutes, and they'll produce the match of the night for you. Literally nothing else to say about that. We'll see what happens there. Curious to see what Jason feels about that. I'm sure he feels the same way. The Bloodline stuff with Royce Keys. He wrestled Jimmy Uso on Friday. Apparently, WWE thought that we wanted to see it again on Monday. So we got this impromptu match with Royce Keys and Jimmy Uso. Let me check my phone to see if had to reboot. Stand by. He's coming back. He is coming back, ladies and gentlemen. We'll talk about Royce Keys and Jimmy Uso. We'll talk about the Bayley and Lyra segment. Bayley. Don't know what's happening with Bayley. Apparently, we get teases from Mercedes once a week in regards to something. People are looking at it much more than her counting down to winning the AEW Women's Championship. Apparently, people are insinuating that she is indiscreetly mentioning Bayley and her time running out on her WWE contract. And Miss Pamela maybe showing up in AEW. I don't necessarily find that to be a bad thing. If they can recreate Mercedes and Bayley in AEW, that'll be something. That's something to look out for. Bayley and Lyra. Lyra obviously turning quote-unquote heel. I don't know if it's going to be a tweener. I don't know if this is going to lead to some sort of rekindling of a partnership with Tatum Paxley. I know they were an item or a duo, friends, on NXT television. Tatum is certainly going to get called up sooner rather than later after her loss to Zarya. So we will see what happens there. I think that call-up is about time to happen. But she looks more like Bird Lady from Home Alone than she does Bird Girl. So we'll see what happens with her heel turn. And then obviously we have Seth and Roman Reigns in the closing segment. We'll talk about that as well. And what I thought they did was much better than the week prior with Seth Rollins almost putting Chicago to sleep. At least he showed some fire and some intensity against Roman Reigns. But Roman Reigns, honestly, like I said on my Raw review, he sliced and diced and filleted Seth Rollins on the microphone last night. Rollins didn't look good as soon as they got face-to-face towards the end of that segment. Before the attack, Roman Reigns made him look really, really, really stupid. So we'll go over that stuff. Let me check the chat for you guys. Again, I apologize for this minor inconvenience. It is something beyond our control. Something happened to Jason's PC. He will be back. He just texted me. He'll be back shortly. We got 2,300 people in here. We got 691 likes. Let's throw some music on to set the mood here until he returns. I'll put on some Red Skies. It feels like a Red Skies moment. 691 likes. I'd love to see a modest goal tonight of 900. If we can hit 900 likes, that would be fantastic. You guys are killing the super chats tonight. We're going to go over all over your super chats at the end of the show. So get them on in. Thank you to Angel Alaga, and thank you to Ali for the big bombs earlier. Thank you to everybody getting those donations in. It's the best way to help out what we do here on Tuesday nights. We love doing this for you guys, and it doesn't happen without you. So thank you guys very much for that. Make sure you check out the description. If you guys want to go follow Jason on social media, you know what to do there. He's on Twitter. He's on YouTube. He's live every Monday. He's live here with me Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. Pay-per-views, PLE, Saturday night's main event. He'll be live. I'll be live. It's a big week. We got a lot going on this week. I uploaded a video today to give you my exclusive thoughts, my in real-time thoughts about the SummerSlam tickets and the All In tickets, why they did Punk and Cody Rhodes so hastily. My thoughts on why everything has transpired the way that it has. Gave you my thoughts on that. Not looking good for WWE, so go check that out. That's on the homepage right now. We did some really, really great numbers. I think the last time I checked before, I think we hit a 4-hour period. We were at almost 15,000, 16,000 views on that video, so thank you guys for that. Great stuff there. I was live with the coach today as well. We had a great show on the 2 Count. If you guys want to go over there and hear us talk about basically everything we're talking about here, but much more condensed. You get coach's side of things. You get my side of things. Rapid fires, the quickest hour of wrestling content in the entire community. The 2 Count with me and Jonathan Coachman. So go check that out. Jason uploaded a new episode of Uncrowned today. It goes up every Tuesday night, so make sure you guys go check that out as well. I'm sure he's got some juicy tidbits over there that aren't available on the Sound Off. Let's see what he says. He is, I think my PC is fucked trying to figure it out. Oh, boy. All right. That's not good. That's not good. Jason's PC is not good right now. So he's working on it. He's trying to figure it out. I'll keep you guys posted here. I'll keep you guys in the loop on what's going on. We may have to cut the stream short, unfortunately, and go right into the super chats if that's the case, if Jason's not going to be back, and we'll just pick it up next week. We didn't really have a lot to talk about remaining on the show. Gable, we were going to talk about Gable. We were going to talk about the Roman and Seth promo and the Vision stuff. So there wasn't really a lot left. But if we have to jump right into the super chats and cut it short, That's what we're going to have to do. So we'll wait another few minutes here to see what's going on. I'll get the word from him. Let me text him back. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Pay him more, JD. Listen, man, shit happens, man. When you're live, shit happens. I know my desktop PC is about due for an upgrade. I just haven't pulled the trigger because computer parts are so fucking expensive. I haven't had the extra income to get myself a new custom PC built. I only use it for streaming. I don't even game on it. I got Destiny 2. I got Path of Exile on my PC. A couple other minor games. Nothing that really is going to push the hardware too much. I don't usually game on my PC. I have a PS5 Pro. I prefer a console. It would basically just be to ensure that my setup is set up for heavy streaming every single night, multiple times a week. So, you never know when that type of stuff is going to go, man. You never know. But hopefully he can get back here. I knew something was wrong because usually it's just StreamYard that cuts him out. But when his camera froze and then he just kind of disappeared and just got booted out of the StreamYard server, I knew something else was the problem. But what we'll do here to just keep things going, because I don't want to talk about these things without him. Otherwise, you could just go watch our individual reviews and get a sense of what we're talking about here. The Vision stuff, I thoroughly enjoyed the story with the Vision, but it's all about Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker is now basically a third wheel. I think him and I are on the same page with that. It's all about getting him in a position where he should be the guy. And I don't know where this is going to lead. Probably leading to Otis and Tozawa getting a tag team title match at SummerSlam. But Braun Breaker doesn't look good. He doesn't. And then Shad Gable, we talked about that. And then Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. They didn't do anything last night that got me any more interested in their title match. They can do all these short stories and these cute little vignettes and go over the history of the Shield. Bro, we've been there, done that. Not interested. But I think what I'm going to do right now in the meantime, I'm going to read through your super chats. If Jason gets back, Jason gets back. If not, we'll figure it out next week, and hopefully he can figure out his computer situation. But I thank you guys for sticking with us. We were pretty much towards the end of the show anyway. Start with Olivia. Michael Krause is not the first in the venue tonight, man. Olivia with a 250. I'm going to my first ever events. Front row tickets. Bulgaria. Carlito is being promoted. Set up for 2K people. I'm thankful to have you brothers. JD and Solo. Well, thank you, Olivia. Thank you, Olivia. Enjoy that show you're going to. Carlito's great. Michael Krause with a $2 super chat. JD, Jason, OTS, TNT. How you know? Just have fun. Yeah. Thank you, Michael. How you know? Yo, boy Pete with a $4.99. Not wrestling related, but I need to hear y'all thoughts on that Derby from last night. What a comeback by Walker. Yo, boy Pete. I didn't watch any of the Home Run Derby. From me to you, I didn't really give a shit. I'm kind of disinterested in baseball right now because of the way the Braves are currently playing. Hopefully they turn it around with Acuna getting back after the All-Star break. They need Acuna back. They need Austin Riley to start hitting. Michael Harris has got to get back into it. I don't know, man. For all we know, the fucking Miami Marlins might win the division. I didn't watch any of the Home Run Derby. Give me back shots. Solomonster, $1.99. Rocks or Lyra should win Money in the Bank. No thanks on Chelsea. I'm personally going Roxanne. Michelle with a $5 super chat. Will Seth Roman have more than one match? Not many options on Raw for either man outside of Oba. After Oba Roman, what big money matches are there? There are none. You're going to get your bloodline slop, and you're going to enjoy it. LA Knight, Solo Sikoa, Royce Keys. It's going to float between both shows. You're going to like the slot, and you're not going to question WWE creative. Yes, give me back shots, Solomonster. Yes. Yes, this is he's a regular here on TNT. Hardcore Kevin with a $5 super chat. Happy birthday, JD. Let's see those happy birthday super chats, guys. Question of the day. When's the last time you guys got an In-N-Out burger? Last time I had an In-N-Out burger, it should have been in Vegas. I didn't know there was one out there. There was literally one behind the Luxor where I stayed. When I went out to San Diego many moons ago. Overrated. And my birthday, Hardcore Kevin, is not in July. It is February 6th, hence the 206. Caden Crawford with a $1.99 and a $1.99. Thank you, Caden. Francis Loop with a $5 super chat. I'm going to have to respectfully disagree with Solomonster when he said that Billy Stark should take the Ring of Honor women's title off of Athena. Well, who else would it be? They've built Billy Starks and Athena for years now. Why not have it be Billy Starks? Who is it supposed to be? Maya World, because she was dealt a hot hand? Pay off the proper story that you were telling over years and don't flip-flop because someone else got hot. If Maya World is great, that opportunity will still be there for her after Billy wins the title. MGM Ballin with a $9.99. Happy Gilmore, Billy Madison, Big Daddy. Never watched Mr. Deeds either. Honorable mentions, Anger Management, and 50 First Dates. Happy Gilmore, number 1, absolutely. Billy Madison, number 2. Big Daddy was great. Mr. Deeds is up there. Easily top 5 for Adam Sandler. Anger Management was all right. 50 First Dates was all right, too. I actually thought I enjoyed 50 First Dates more than Anger Management. Francis Loop with a $5 super chat. Speaking of Adam Sandler, there's a movie on Netflix. I forgot the name of it. It's with him and David Spade. It's a movie in which they fake their own deaths and they take on new identities. I forgot the name of it. Great watch. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I don't know when I watched this a couple years ago. It's on Netflix. Great movie. It's more of it's a comedy, but it's more like serious comedy. So we'll see. Did Jason text me again? No. He's still working on his PC. Yeah, I forgot the name of that with David Spade and Adam Sandler. I forgot the name of it. I was not a big fan of Waterboy. I was not a fan of Little Nicky. I did not. Waterboy is a little bit more understandable. I was not a big fan of Little Nicky. At all. MGM Ball, thank you, brother. The Mother Lover with a $4.99. Waterboy is a goated movie. Sorry, JD. Also, oh my God, everything's great. Everything's great, guys. Everything's great. According to you know who, everything's great. Francis Liv with a $5 super chat. Then Billy and Athena can blow off their feud in a bloody no-holds-barred match in which the loser leaves Ring of Honor to AEW. Everybody wants Athena on Dynamite. Yeah, but would she end up on Dynamite? That's the question. Tony Khan has rarely used her, only when he sees fit. Would she actually end up on Dynamite and in a meaningful role? I doubt it. Krana with a $5 super chat. Which current superstar looks like they would accidentally lock themselves out of their own car? Sheamus Farrelly versus Charles Mason. Book it. Banger. Sheamus Farrelly versus Charles Mason. I like the sound of that. Sheamus and Mason would be a great match. Mason would absolutely hold his own. Chrono with a 2. Can you read this in Leo Rush's voice? Cheers, guys. I can't do a better Leo Rush than Jason. I could use
It's him. It's him. Can you read this in the Leo Rush voice? My precious little hobbits.
Step Bro with the 2 months. JD, I can't watch this episode. I have to catch up. I was on vacation. Now I'm back to the program. Solo, make JD watch Sopranos. You guys want me to watch The Sopranos, huh? I do have HBO Max. I gotta watch a lot. I gotta watch Obsession. I gotta watch Sopranos. I gotta watch Game of Thrones. Noah Kirby with a $5 super chat. What do you guys think of Jeff Jarrett and TNA Dark Side of the Ring episodes? Well, I haven't watched it yet. I want to watch it. But Jason has covered at least where they're up to right now on the sound off. So you guys can go listen to that. I actually listened to what he had to say. It's more enjoyable sometimes to listen to him and not actually watch the program, because what he does is he adds his own little pieces of information that they conveniently leave out of the fucking documentary. So if you guys want to go catch up on everything Dark Side of the Ring, Jason's going to extensively cover it throughout this current season. So that's all on the sound off or all on his YouTube page. Tony Brown with the $4.99. Look, I know. He says, look, I know you young men really shouldn't say this, but there is some ass on NXT. Seriously. Yes. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Tony. Thank you for the update. Appreciate you. Francis Loop with a $5 super chat. Chris Statlander can help build up the Ring of Honor girls. I would bring in Dakota, Charlie, and have a second match from Wrestle Queendom. Their first match was great. I'm surprised she hasn't been picked up, period, Dakota. Love her. The Mother Lover with a $9.99. If you had to choose one company to watch for the rest of your life and would be committing a felony by watching the other, which company would you choose, AEW or WWE? I'm going to watch WWE for the rest of my life. It's where the money is, realistically. AEW doesn't bring in the money. $5 super chat. Braun Breaker last year went from facing Roman and Jay at SummerSlam to potentially facing Otis and Tozawa. Just sad how badly creative ruined him. What did I say last night, chat? If you guys were in my chat last night, this is basically Judgment Day 3.0. Braun Breaker is playing Finn Balor, while Austin Theory and Maxine Dupree are playing Dominic and Liv Morgan. It's basically what it boils down to. Braun Breaker needs to lose those tag team titles to Otis and Tozawa. He needs to get the fuck out of the division, and he needs to join Paul Heyman as a solo act. What I find really fucking stupid is that when Braun Breaker got called up to the main roster and Baron Corbin was getting back on the main roster, the Wolf Dogs was effectively killed off because they didn't want Braun Breaker being a tag team guy. Now he's a tag team guy with Austin Theory, and Baron Corbin's back on the main roster. I guess the Wolf Dogs wasn't that bad of an idea now, was it? But yes, I agree, JM. Ali, thank you, brother, for the $100 super chat. Appreciate you being here, as always, my friend. Rep Morgan with the $10 super chat. We don't need Jack Perry and Punk in the same room ever again. TK almost died that night, and we almost lost a very good man in TK. Never again. Did we? It looked like Tony Khan and his life was very much safe from what we saw on the closed circuit footage. I think it was made out to be a lot more than what they depicted it to be. Furious Nation with the 57 months. What's up, JD and Solo Banger TNT tonight? Thinking of my grandpa today, by the way, as we would have been 89 years old today. Appreciate everything you do. Furious, thank you, brother. Thoughts and prayers with you. Happy birthday to your late grandpa. JD from the back rooms, 67. Look at me in the back rooms with an ice cold Guinness in my hand. Why are Jesse's Tacos walking? Is that a room with Denise's voice playing on loop? Why is Tony Khan singing Shakira? Ski-bidee, toilet Dax. Well, thank you, JD, from the back rooms. It's even look, it's a profile picture of me in the back rooms. It's crazy. That's another one I have to watch. I gotta watch that too. Smooth J with the $4.99. If I was creative, I'll have Sammy in the triple threat match with Punk and Cody. As Punk goes to pin Sammy, I'd have Kevin Owens help Sammy win. I think Kevin Owens is on his way back. Genuinely. Oh, boy. All right. Jason says he's got his PC working, but my Wi-Fi connections have seemed to have totally disappeared. I told him, don't sweat it. If you get back, great. If not, we'll pick it up next week. So, update from Jason. We got his computer working, but his Wi-Fi connection is completely lost. So, I don't know what's going on there. I told him if he gets back, great. We'll just kind of run through what we got to run through here and then get the hell out of here. If not, I'll just wrap up here and we'll just pick it up next week. It's just something that happens, you know. Live streaming as a content creator, man, you gotta expect this type of thing's gonna happen once in a blue, you know. It's not that big of a deal. We were basically done with the show anyway. Smooth J, Kevin Owens, I feel, is going to be on his way back. Regardless, I think they've kept it very hush-hush, very quiet. He's been starting to appear on WWE television a little bit more often. He's doing roundtable discussions with NXT, and he's there with Dave LaGreca as they were invited to the last NXT PLE. And I think he's on LFG as like a mentor / coach on NXT or LFG down with the Performance Center kids. So I think he's going to be back sooner rather than later. Pablo Montoya with a $4.99. Since the men's title matches are final, would you give Sammy something like tag team titles from Priest Truth to get Sammy on the card as a consolation prize? No. No, I do not. If Sammy is not in the world title match, he's missing SummerSlam. I genuinely feel if they were where they needed to be, which is why I posed the question to Jason, if I feel they were where they were supposed to be for ticket sales, we're in their eyes, 40, 50,000 for both nights out the door already. And we're on our way to selling out US Bank Stadium. Good chance, in my opinion, Sami Zayn walks into SummerSlam as the WWE champion. At least through SummerSlam. Arnold PJ with a $5 super chat. PCO is under the sheet holding the TNA Digital Media Championship that he destroyed. What is your Mount Rushmore of monster gimmick wrestlers? Monster gimmicks, huh? Well, Kane is number one. Kane is number one for sure. I'd have to think long and hard about that. I'm sure Abyss would probably be on there for many people who are talking about monster gimmick wrestlers. Even though I'm not a big TNA guy, I didn't watch a lot of TNA at all. I would not hesitate to put Abyss on there, being that he is one of their marquee acts. He's in the Hall of Fame. Mankind. Gotta be on there. Kane, Mankind, Abyss, and then take your pick at number 4. You know? The Boogeyman. Would the Boogeyman be on Mount Rushmore? Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman as a monster gimmick. I think the monster, that's his nickname, the monster among monsters. I don't think Braun Strowman was a monster in this context in which Arnold is asking. When I think monster, I think Abyss. Or someone with a mask. Vader. Was Vader a monster? I would probably characterize Vader as a monster, yeah. Vader's a good one. I think we go Vader. Vader, Kane, Mankind, and Abyss. Gary Gordon with a $5 super chat. Do you think Roman undervalued the Money in the Bank briefcase in his promo last night? Yes. I didn't think of it last night, but now that you mention it, yeah. Absolutely. Gary Gordon also with a 5. Are we relying too much on the low blow? Anything else creative? The low blow is a tried and true for sure. Absolutely. MJF used it. Maxine used it, or in this case, Austin Theory used it last night on Otis. Poor Otis. Also, Gary says, was it me or did Liv suffer a slight wardrobe malfunction last night? A little bit of her shorts were pulled down further than they should have been, yes. I wouldn't consider it a malfunction, but I'm also not complaining. Beantown. I got Beantown, brother. I got to reach out to you on Patreon, bro. I'm going to need your information. You won the wheel last night, Beantown. Great show, guys. Curious what you think of Richard Holiday signing or potentially signing with NXT. Well, that was in the notes here. We were going to definitely touch upon that tonight. I guess we'll talk about that next week. I'll save that for next week. I'm not familiar with his previous body of work, but I hear a lot of good things. Interested to see what he does if he does join NXT, which right now is the heavy rumor. Also, how is Charles Mason not signed yet? I've seen a couple of hog matches in New York. Big fan of his. He is great. How he's not signed yet is a mystery to me. I mean, I could speak his praises, even though it goes against everything that we truly believe in because he's a prick. But he is tremendous. He's got some of the best offensive movesets in all pro wrestling. He's dedicated to his character. He's got great theme music. He knows exactly who he wants to be and what the character needs to be. I just don't know if he goes to a major promotion that are going to allow him to do what he usually does on the indies. But he is fantastic, and how he's not signed yet, I don't know. Pow TV with a 199. Does TKO keep Penta off TV because the entrance costs too much? No. The better question is, why do you think Penta needs to wrestle every week? He doesn't need to wrestle every week. B Money with a 4 months. Thank you, B Money. If Scott Steiner wrestled in the Attitude Era, how well could he have done? Solo, did you see the trailer for Crystal Lake series coming to Peacock? Well, we can't ask him that question because Solomonster's not here right now, as he's working to get back here, if he does. Scott Steiner in the Attitude Era, I think Scott Steiner would have worked in the Attitude. It's just based on his promo alone. He would have been more unhinged. Imagine an unhinged. He was unhinged anyway, but imagine in the Attitude Era. I think Scott Steiner would have fared pretty well. Gary Gordon with a 5. August 28th, double taping in Cleveland, SmackDown and Raw, taping for Labor Day, and I will be there. Also with a 5 and a 5, Gary Gordon dropping 5s left and right here, Gary Gordon. Thank you, brother. Is it possible Randy Orton may be done? No, Randy will be back. This is probably his last contract. He signed a 5-year deal, but I think he will be back. And where is Naomi? I think Naomi will return, and I think the Royal Rumble is where that's going to happen. Gary also says, saw Obsession for one reason. You two guys, fantastic streams on Peacock starting the 17th. There you go. So this coming weekend. I got to watch it. I got to see what all the hype is about. I got to see what this guy's talking about. Gary Gordon on the 5. What do you think they are planning for Roman and Brunson? Any guess? No. I don't care. I don't care. Genuinely. Julian Stanfield, 1503 with a 499. Who in WWE, AEW, etc. would be the top 5 wrestlers right now? MJF. Sami Zayn. Kyle Fletcher. Konosuke Takeshita. And Carmelo Hayes. Wanted to include another WWE name in there. I was going to say Kevin Knight, but I'm going to go Carmelo. Furious Nation with the 999. So tomorrow afternoon, I go for an interview with Tops for a produce position. And next week on July 21, I go for a food service worker interview with a local school district. Wish me luck, man. Good luck, brother. You're going to get something, man. You're going to get something. Believe it. Tony Brown with a 199. I fucked up that super chat, young JD. Brother, I knew what you meant. All we needed to know is that there is a lot of ass on NXT. I get it, Tony. I know. Thank you. Thank you, Tony. Don Stoney with a $5 super chat. Shout out to Don Tony Wrestling Soup, Spitball Media, and as always, RIP Kevin Castle. Stoney, thank you for being here, brother. Love Don Stoney. Ken with a $9.99. Should WWE bring back bra and panties matches and tuxedo matches to give business a shot in the arm? Imagine Nick Aldis versus Adam Pearce in a tuxedo match at SummerSlam. Brother, you are slowly but surely advocating for a Vince McMahon return. No. No, that sounds awful. Next thing you know, you're going to be asking for fucking pose-offs with Austin Theory and Braun Breaker in the main event segment. All oiled up like he did with Bobby Lashley. Remember that? Nobody wants to see that. Please. Rep Morgan with a $10 super chat. Solomonster couldn't handle much more of your bad takes tonight, JD. He had to fake network issues. I feel bad for Jason. Take it easy on him next time. Are my takes really that bad? Come on now. A lot of what I say makes a lot more sense than people give me credit for, bro. And I'm shooting from the hip on that one. I get a lot of unwarranted hate for no reason. If you sat down and listened to what I had to say, you would see that I want better for both companies and that I just want better television. Furious Nation with a $4.99. Also, ACW Independence Day this Saturday night should be a banger. Killer Cross versus Matt Riddle. And could be Richard Holliday's last match in ACW 2. Well, I'm expecting that to be. Killer Cross is legitimately killing it. Good for him. Love him. And Matt Riddle's good. Matt Riddle is still very good at what he does. I just don't think he will be back with either of the major promotions. Mid-range with a $2.99. JD, do you like pie? Poontang pie. No. Give me a blueberry crumble and call it a day. MGM Bowling. I love chanting FU along with Mason Rook's theme. He's great. Mason Rook may be slotted to win the first ever John Cena Classic. Keep an eye on that. Furious Nation with a $1.99. Imagine if Abyss had joined WWE in 2007. Probably would have got his Undertaker WrestleMania match. Honestly. The Mother Lover with a $4.99. Is it ludicrous to think MJF might win the title back at Redemption to fight Ospreay at All In one-on-one anyway, and TK just wanted a moment? No. To do what? For MJF to drop the title back to Ospreay and have MJF be a 4-time AEW World Champion? No. Now, that would make MJF look bad and worse more than anything. Anyway, guys. I think that's all you got for me. I appreciate it. Unfortunate situation tonight. Jason had a internet outage, and he had his PC just shit the bed for absolutely no reason. So hopefully he gets that taken care of. There was not much I can do without my tag team partner here tonight. We had just the last bit of Raw to get through, but we will get his thoughts on all that next week. That's all I could say. So I appreciate you guys being here with us on episode 155. Again, I apologize for Jason's PC going out. It's just one of those situations, man. As a live streamer and a content creator, that you got to expect it to happen at least once. Unfortunately, it happened to us tonight. So he will get that fixed, and we'll be right back with you. We'll rebound to tomorrow. We'll be both live for Dynamite, but we'll rebound next week for TNT 156. So I appreciate you guys very much for that. Thank you for the super chat, love. Continue to hit that thumbs up. Let's try for 1,000 likes. If you guys can get those thumbs up, and it helps us out. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought of the discussion tonight between us. MJF, Kenny Omega, the SummerSlam ticket sales, Punk Cody, Lots of good stuff there in the first 2 hours of the show, man. So make sure you guys leave a comment down below. Again, it helps us out tremendously. Follow us on social media at JD from NY206, at Solomonster. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram. I'm on TikTok. I'm also on Cameo. You guys can sign up for the Patreon page, patreon.com/JD from NY206. Go and sign up over there. We'll be doing our classic SummerSlam match reviews again, week 2. On Thursday this week, apparently, we'll be watching Bret Hart versus The Undertaker, 1997. I can't wait for that, man. That's going to be a great fucking match. Best ending to a WWE title match in the history of the company. Absolutely. So thank you guys again for all your support. We'll be live. I'll be live with Jesse tomorrow for Dynamite follow-up. How are we going to figure out this MJF world title situation? What's going to happen going into Redemption? Jason will be live as well. Tune into our shows tomorrow on Wednesday night until next Tuesday. We'll be right back with episode 155 right here on Tuesday Night Titans. I'll see you guys later.
Shut up, bitches!